Time now for Portland Beavers Baseball on 1550 KKAD. Portland Beavers Baseball is brought to you in part by Portland General Electric. We do this every day. By Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. By Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. And by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And now let's go out to the ball game with the voice of the Beavers, Rich Burke.
It was Game 3 here in Salt Lake City last night, and the Beavers were shooting for their fourth win in a row. But Salt Lake loaded the bases in the very first inning against Portland starter Matt Bruback. Former Beaver Alex Pelaez stepped in. Not a bad Monday night crowd out here in Salt Lake City. Starting to get into it now, and the 2-1 pitch from Bruback swung on, line drive down the right field line. That ball will slice toward the corner. It's a fair ball up against the 3:15 mark. 1 run scores, 2 runs score. Johnson waves home. He's be held at third now as Brumley puts on the stop sign. 2-run double for Alex Pelaez. 2-0 Salt Lake. And that was just the beginning. Salt Lake pounded out 14 hits and went on to win it 10-6. And this morning, the Beavers will go after their first series win this year. And hi, everybody. This is Rich Burke, and welcome to Portland Beavers Baseball here on Advice Radio 1550 KKAD and across the globe on the internet at OregonLive.com. It has been perfect weather throughout this series here in Salt Lake City. We've been very fortunate. Beavers may get through the entire month of April without a rainout, and that would really be something. The weather forecast for Edmonton when we get there on Thursday is actually pretty nice with highs in the mid-60s. There are times when in April games will get snowed out up there, but it looks like we're going to dodge a bullet when we get up there on Thursday. Of course, that could change at any time up there in Edmonton. Starting lineups brought to you by Portland General Electric, delivering safe, reliable power to your home and to the home of the Portland Beavers. PGE, we do this every day. Portland looking to take 3 of 4 in the series, and the Beavers will lead it off with Bernie Castro, and he'll play second base. The Beavers leadoff hitters 0 for 14 in this series. In fact, the top 2 in the Beaver lineup, just 2 for 28 through the first 3 games. Bobby Scales will hit second. He's the DH. John Knott hits third. He'll play left field. He's been back on a tear. 6 for 13, 3 doubles and 2 home runs in the series. Yamid Hod will hit cleanup and catch. Hod was 3 for 4 on Sunday with a double and a home run. Joe Gerber hits fifth. He'll play first base. And batting sixth and playing right field, Ben Petrick. He started at first and left and now in right. Batting seventh, the third baseman Rico Washington. Batting eighth and playing center field, Gene Kingsale. And batting ninth, the shortstop, J.J. Fermaniak. So again, Castro at second, Scales the DH, not in left. Odd catching, Gerber at first, Petrick in right, Washington at third, Kingsale in center, Fermaniak at short. And on the mound, right-hander Joey Hamilton, the 33-year-old, born and went to high school, Statesboro, Georgia, and lives now in Norcross, Georgia. For the Salt Lake Stingers, Barry Wesson, the center fielder, is the leadoff man for the second straight game. Alfredo Amezaga hits second, and he's the shortstop. Adam Riggs will be the DH and hit third. And batting cleanup and moving back to first base after playing left field last night, Rob Quinlan. Gary Johnson hits fifth. He'll play left. And batting sixth, the third baseman, Jake Thrower. Derek Gibson will hit seventh. He'll play right field. Batting eighth and catching, Tom Gregorio. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Brian Specht. Again, Wesson in center, Amezaga at short, Riggs the DH. Quinlan at first, Johnson in left, Thrower the third baseman. Gibson in right, Gregorio catching, and Specht at second. And on the mound, right-hander Delvin James, 0-1, 6.14 ERA. James is 26 years old. This is his 9th professional year and his 4th year in AAA ball. His only big league time came in 2002 with Tampa Bay. 8 games, 6 game start, 0-3, 6.55 ERA. James at one time had a chance to play outside linebacker at Oklahoma State University, but he turned down a scholarship to begin his professional baseball career. James, in fact, was in uniform 8 years ago now for the first ever game in the Devil Rays organization. That was 1996. It was in the Gulf Coast League. And so James has that memory. 3 days later, he made his professional debut. And the first hitter he faced was Tim Raines, who was down playing for the Gulf Coast League Yankees in a rehab assignment. The Beavers and the Salt Lake Stingers in the final game of the 4-game series. Portland has tomorrow off. We'll actually fly back to Portland tonight, and then take the off day tomorrow, and Thursday morning fly to Edmonton. And then game 1 of that series will be Thursday night at 6:05, airtime 5:35 here on Advice Radio 1550 KKAD. Dennis Tankersley will go for the Beavs, our pregame guest today, and he'll be facing Korean Sung Song in the opener of the series there. Then Friday night, also 6:05 first pitch. Saturday and Sunday, 12:35 first pitch, 12:05 airtime. And then the Beavers back home on Monday for the first of 4 against these Salt Lake Stingers and the first game of an 8-game homestand. We're just about set for the action here. The Stingers are taking the field. We're going to have the national anthem here at the ballpark in Salt Lake City. We're going to take a timeout and come back with our first pitch after this on Advice Radio 1550 KKAD. Finale of the series here in Salt Lake City. Delvin James just out to begin his warm-up tosses on the hill as a cortege of about 100 American flags leaves the field right now. And again, we expect somewhere between 15,000 school-age kids here today. Beavers and the Salt Lake Stingers, game 4 of the series. Joey Hamilton still warming up down in the Beaver bullpen. And Delvin James getting ready out on the game mound. For the Salt Lake Stingers, Gary Johnson in left field, Barry Wesson in center, Derek Gibson in right. The first baseman is Rob Quinlan, Ryan Speck at second, the shortstop Alfredo Amezaga, and over third, Jake Thrower. Behind the plate, Tom Gregorio. And on the mound, 6'4" right-hander Delvin James. He's a big boy, 6'4", 240 pounds. Born and still lives in Nacogdoches, Texas. In spite of his size, he doesn't throw particularly hard. James at one time a 14th round draft choice of the Devil Rays out of Nacogdoches High School. That was 1996. And last year he spent the full year at AAA Durham. That's in the Devil Rays chain. 34 games, 21 starts, 5-10, 5.23 ERA. He was released in spring training this year by the Devil Rays and signed by the Angels. And James will be making his fourth start, 0-1, 6.14 ERA. 2 starts ago at Fresno, 6 innings, just 2 hits, and no earned runs. Last start in Sacramento, 4 innings, 12 hits, 8 runs all earned. 2 walks and 1 strikeout. James, a fastball, curveball, changeup pitcher. And control and deception are his game rather than overpowering speed. Bernie Castro just about set to climb in the batter's box, and many of the American flags have yet to exit the premises down the right field line. They're running to get out of here. Castro's already been announced, and James playing catch right now with the shortstop, Alfredo Amezaga. And now we're just about set to go. The last of the old glories has exited down by the right field foul pole, and they're set to shut the gate, and we'll have our first pitch of the morning. This is our 4th morning game this year. We're going to do it again in 13 days, Monday, May 10th at PGE Park. It'll be an 11:05 start time there, and we expect to have many school-age kids out on that day at home. If you would like to bring your class out to the ballpark, maybe you're a teacher or a principal or a parent who thinks it's a good idea, give the Portland Beavers a call. Call Kim Gerber. She's the one who's in charge of this. And you can call the main number, 503-553-5555. Well, we're just about set to go. Bernie Castro climbs in. First pitch of our game brought to you by Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. And Castro shows bunt, takes outside, ball 1. Bernie slumping 0 for 9 in the series. He rarely slumps for long. Fastball in there to Bernie, 1-1. Simply because there's so many ways he can beat you with the bats. The 1-1 to Bernie, and he swings and lines one by James up the middle, base hit. And the leadoff man aboard for the Beavs here in the first.
Batting second is the designated hitter, number 10.
First hit for a Beaver leadoff man in the series. Here's Bobby Scales. He hit leadoff a couple of days ago and went 0 for 5. Matter of fact, coming into the game, the top 2 spots in the Beaver order, just 2 for 28 in the series. In spite of that, the Beavers are taking 2 of the first 3. Scales, like Castro, a switch hitter batting left-handed. Pick off the first. Bernie dives back in. Castro has stolen 5 of 6. The one time he was gunned down was by Will Nieves. And that was yesterday. Tom Gregorio catching for Salt Lake today. And the pitch to Scales is inside, ball 1. Delvin Dwayne James. Big right-handed Texan peers in to Tom Gregorio. Castro leads. He fakes, and the pitch waved at and missed by Scales. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sinking fastball from Delvin James. Delvin ready, a check at Castro at first, and the 1-1 to Scales, pulled on the ground to the right side. Second baseman Speck goes to short for 1, and Amezaga back to first. Double play.
Batting third is the left fielder, number 38, John Nutt.
James is a ground ball pitcher, and he got a ground ball he needed. A 4-6-3 double play, and here comes John Nutt. 295 with 4 home runs, 2 of them in this series, to go along with 3 doubles. 6 for 13 in the first 3 games. Not waits. James fires, and John swings and lines one toward left. It'll drop for a base hit. Over to get it is Johnson. He'll throw it in. So the big double play, the key to the inning so far. Otherwise, the Beavers would have really been in business.
Number 40, Yamid Hahn.
I said it yesterday. I said it in my morning email that I sent out today prior to the game. If the Beavers continue to swing the bat like they are, they're going to win a lot of games because they have one of the best pitching staffs in the league. Here's Yamid Hahn. I hadn't gotten that much of a chance to play, but he's hit well, and he takes a fastball in there, 0-1. Yamid hitting .368 with a couple of home runs, and he has homered each of his last 2 games, including here on Sunday when he was 3 for 4 and also hit a double. The 0-1 to Yamid, changeup popped up foul, back just off the wall right, hits the roof, and will roll off the bat. The kids down in front of us waiting expectantly, but the ball will stay up there. 0-2 to Hod. James ready. Not a short lead. The pitch to Yamid. A fastball low. Joe Gerber on deck. Just underway. Top of the first. Big crowd out here for a Tuesday morning in the capital city of Utah. The 1-2 pitch. Down and in to Hod. 2 balls and 2 strikes. James trying to get Yamid to chase a changeup, but he wouldn't do it. Beavers manager Craig Colbert in the third base coaching box. Duly adorned in his red road jersey. First series the Beavers have used these. Chris Oxspring over in the first base box. Hod asks for time and backs out. And now just as quickly back in. Knott leads at first. Stolen one baseman, caught one time. Not a real threat to go on a straight steal. The 2-2 pitch is taken down and away. Ball 3. And now Knott will be off with the next pitch. And the first baseman, Rob Quinlan, will play behind him. Johnson, Wesson, and Gibson in the outfield from left around to right. On the infield, Quinlan and Speck, the Meziga and Thrower, and the battery of James and Gregorio. Knott goes, and the 3-2 pitch swung on and pulled toward third by a diving Thrower and down the left field line toward the corner. Knott lumbers toward third, held there by Colbert. Digging for 2 is Hod. The throw comes in from Johnson, not in time. A double for Yamid. Another extra base hit for Portland.
Joe Gerber.
That is their 21st extra base hit in the 4-game series. The 15th double. Then Portland has to figure they got the right guy in the right spot here, Joe Gerber. He has had some clutch hits the last couple of days. Second and third, 2 down. 3 hits in the inning for the Beavers, and Gerber swings and drives one toward right. A line shot caught by Derek Gibson right on the button. But right out the right field of Derek Gibson. Tell you what, Delvin James didn't fool much of anybody, but he did get a key double play and pitches into some luck as Gerber lines out to right with runners at second and third. Through half an inning, Portland nothing, Salt Lake coming up. Portland Beavers baseball is brought to you by Portland General Electric. We do this every day. By Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. By Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. And by Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. Beavers get 3 hits. Hit the ball on the button 4 times in the first inning, but they come up empty. Joey Hamilton will face Barry Wesson, Alfredo Omeziga, and Adam Riggs in front of a huge throng of school-age kids. Big Joey Hamilton, 6'4", 240 pounds, identical height and weight to Salt Lake starting pitcher Delvin James. Fastball in there to Barry Wesson, 0-1. Barry hitting .230 with a couple of home runs. And in last night's game, he was 2 for 4 with a walk and a sacrifice fly. He takes outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. John Knott in left, Gene Kingsale in center, and Ben Petrick in right. Kingsale shading Wesson to pull. Rico a couple of steps back of the bag at third now, and Wesson chopped one toward the left side. Charged by Rico. He picks it up, throws on the move, and gets his man. One down here in the bottom of the first, no score. And that'll bring up Alfredo Amezaga. 213 without a home run. Joe Gerber, the first baseman. Bernie Castro at second. J.J. Fermaniac at short. And Rico Washington at third. Behind the plate, Yamid Hod. On the mound, right-hander John Joseph Hamilton, Georgia boy. And Amezaga climbs in. Hamilton, originally a first-round draft choice of the Padres 13 years ago. Fastball low, ball 1. The 8th player taken overall in the 91 draft out of Georgia Southern University, and eventually made it to the big leagues with the Padres 10 years ago, 1994. The 1-0 pitch, and it's fouled off to the left by Amezaga, 1-1. And for what it's worth, and I think here 10 years later it's not worth a whole lot, Hamilton is 1-1, ERA 1.35 lifetime against Salt Lake. He was doing his work 10 years ago against the likes of Bernardo Brito, Denny Hocking et al. The 1-1 pitch from Hamilton, a chopper by the mound. Fermaniac charges, picks up a Sunday hop here on this Tuesday, and throws out Amezaga, and there are 2 down. Couple of choppers, 2 up and 2 down. And that'll bring up the DH Adam Riggs. 333 with 3 home runs. And Riggs is the league leader in runs scored. 19 in their first 19 games. Out of the scoreboard, the crowd being exhorted to scream, and they gladly oblige. Fastball in there at the knees to Riggs, 0-1. Rob Quinlan on deck. Bottom of the first, no score. Franklin Covey Field in the shadow of the Wasatch Mountains. The 0-1 pitch is taken high and tight, 1-1. When we got here to the ballpark this morning, the stadium was literally in the shadow of the mountains as the sun was rising behind them. It was quite a setting here, very peaceful before anybody arrived. The 1-1 pitch, and it swung on and grounded toward first. Bad hop, explodes in front of Gerber and down the line. Around first is Riggs. He'll dig for 2. Petrick comes up throwing, fires it in on a couple of hops. It'll be a bad hop double for Riggs. Here's Rob Quinlan with a chance to put the Stings on the board. Of course, Quinlan has a chance to put him on the board even without anybody on base. He had 20 home runs here 2 years ago, and a dozen last year. 2 years ago, the PCL MVP. A bad hop double by Adam Riggs. Look back at second, and the pitch to Quinlan is taken low, ball 1. Ball hit a pebble in front of Gerber and exploded like a can of snakes. Almost got him right in the face. Runner at second, 2 down, bottom of the first. We're scoreless here in Salt Lake, and Quinlan takes one on the outside corner. Cut fastball from Hamilton, 1-1. In the top of the first for the Beavs, they had 2 singles and a double, but Delvin James rolled a key double play. Hamilton checks second, and the 1-1 to Quinlan. Fastball underneath his hands, ball 2. And then with runners at second and third and 2 down, Joe Gerber absolutely scorched a line drive to right at Derek Gibson. Yep, you guessed it. The scoreboard asked the crowd to scream again. Many of the kids down below have foam fingers. Some have brought their gloves. Quinlan chopped one to the right side by a diving Castro into right base hit. Here comes Riggs to score. It's 1-0 Salt Lake. A bad hop double an opposite field end of the bat single, and Salt Lake has a 1-0 lead. And Adam Riggs scores another run, his 20th. Gary Johnson, the left fielder, steps in. Quinlan, like many good hitters, gets a lot of hits like that. Handle hits, hits off the end of the bat. And here's another good hitter, Gary Johnson, 321 with 1 home run. Quinlan has attempted 1 steal this year. He was thrown out. Quinlan runs fairly well. Last year in Salt Lake, stole 10 bases in 13 attempts. Gerber holds him on. Johnson, a left-hand hitter, waits, and Hamilton's sinker is outside, ball 1. Joey Hamilton, sinker, slider guy. 13th year professional and part or all of 10 years in the major leagues. For the Padres, 94 through 98. The 1-0 pitch, a fastball away, 2-0. Castro made a valiant effort diving at that ground ball off the bat of Quinlan, but he couldn't get it. And Riggs scored from second. In his last start, Hamilton gave up 4 first-inning runs and had a chance to get out of it unscathed. 2-0 pitch is pulled on 1 hop to Gerber. He gloves it in self-defense and touches the bag. And hold on. Hold everything. A balk has been called on Joey Hamilton, so no pitch. And down to second goes Quinlan. A new life for Gary Johnson. Still 2 balls and no strikes and a runner in scoring position. So the inning would be over, but for the balk. I think that's the first balk we've had in the game this year. This is our 20th game. Beavers 8-11, Salt Lake 12-7. So now Johnson waits with the runner at second base and 2 down. Hamilton's pitch, fastball outside. 3 balls and no strikes. Jake Thrower on deck. 1-0 Salt Lake, bottom of the first. Portland 0-7 when the opponent scores first. .30 fastball in there to Johnson, 3-1. Mike Brumley, the skipper of the Stingers in the third base coaching box, and former Portland Rockies manager Jim Eppard in the first base box. Hamilton's pitch is chopped foul by Johnson, and the count now full. Wesson chopped out to third, and Meziga chopped out to short. Riggs hit a hard ground ball to first that hit a pebble and bounced over Joe Gerber's head for a bad hop double. Then Quinlan poked one into right to drive home Riggs. On the second pitch to Johnson, he grounded out to first, but there was a balk called on the play, so no pitch. Down went to 3-0. Now it's full, and the pitch swung on and missed. Hamilton took something off it, and he retires the side, giving up 1 run. We go to the second. Salt Lake 1, Portland nothing. presented by Portland General Electric. Here's Ben Petrick starting off the Beavers' second. Delvin James given a lead to work with, 1-0 Salt Lake. And the pitch to Petrick, and Ben swings and comes up empty, 0-1. Petrick 4 for 18 since joining the Beavs. 1 home run, 2 runs batted in. James into his windup, and Delvin's 0-1 pitch swung on and a chopper toward third. 2 hops to Jake Thrower, who straightens up, does a pro hop, and throws Petrick out. And there's 1 away. Here comes Rico Washington. Average up to 176. Homered here 2 days ago. His first, 6 runs batted in on the season. Rico 4 for 12 in the series. Does a double to go along with the home run. Enrico Alessandro Washington. Rico waits, and the pitch from James, and Washington takes down and in. Rico doesn't speak Spanish, although the name is Spanish. The 1-0 pitch, and it swung on and pulled toward first, a foul ball. Rico said his mother let a cousin name him. I don't know why. Rico said he doesn't know why, but the cousin chose the name, Enrico Alessandro Washington. James nods yes, and the 1-1 pitch to Rico, and he swings and pulls one on a hop to first, backhanded by Quinlan, who waves James off and takes it to the bag, 2 down. Beavers sent 5 hitters to the plate in the first inning and hit the ball hard 4 times. But they came up with nothing. Joe Gerber lined out to right with runners at second and third to end the threat. There with 2 down in the second, Gene Kinsale steps in. 5 for 28 on the year. 3 of the 5 hits doubles. 179 without a home run. Was 0 for 5 on Saturday. Switch hitter batting left-handed, and Kinsale shows bunt. And did he get hit by the pitch as he pulled the bat back, or was he able to get out of the way? Kinsale pulled the bat back and now drops his bat. Then I think he's going to walk down toward first base. At least I hope that's what's going to happen. Or he's going back toward home plate without a bat. He'd walk all the way back toward the Beaver dugout. And that's what it is. A 2-out hit batsman. A breaking ball from Delvin James hits Gene Kinsale. And that'll bring up J.J. Fermaniak. 2 for 11 as a Beaver. No home runs, 2 RBIs. Joined the Beavers at the beginning of this series in the wake of the oblique strain, rib cage injury to Jose Nieves. A runner at first with 2 down. Kinsale runs well, stolen 1 base this year. He leads. And just as James gets ready to make his pitch, Fermaniak asks for time, granted by the plate umpire Mark Morrow. Todd Pickner, our first base ump. Ramon Armendariz, the third base umpire. James checks first and deals to Fermaniak, a cutter on the outside corner, 0-1. Fermaniak 0 for 4 in last night's game. James' next pitch is grounded off the front of the mound. Nice job by Speck to stay with it. The second baseman then drops it, picks it up, and steps on the bag, and the side retired. Speck stays with that ground ball. The force out to end the frame. Beavers leave 1. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Salt Lake. Back here in Salt Lake City, it's 1-0 Stingers, and longtime Portland baseball fan and now a student at the University of Utah, Elizabeth Neese, has joined me in the booth, and she's going to read the disclaimer. Take it away, Elizabeth.
This broadcast is the property of the Portland Beavers Baseball Club. Any rebroadcast or reproduction without the express written consent of the Portland Beavers is strictly prohibited.
Hey, great job. Outstanding. You probably have that memorized by now. Bottom of the second inning, Jake Thrower climbs in for Salt Lake, and he takes one low from Joey Hamilton, ball one. 1-0 Stingers. We're in the bottom of the second. University of Utah, just a few miles away here, Rice Eccles Stadium, up by the hills of the Wasatch Mountains. Pitch inside 2-0 to Thrower. And that, of course, where they had the opening and closing ceremonies for the Winter Olympics 2 years ago. And that's where the Utes play their home football games. And they had a motocross race there over the weekend. 2-0 pitch to Thrower, and he swings, and a fly ball toward left. Toward the line is not. He's got a play. He's got the ball, and there's one away.
Batting seventh is the right fielder, number 43, Derek Gibson.
Here's Derek Gibson. Had just his third hit in 23 ABs last night. Came on after Brian Gordon was hit on the right arm by a pitch from Tim Burdack and had to leave the game. No word on Gordon's status. Gibson singled and walked in last night's game. He takes a cutter on the outside corner, 0-1. Beavers head to Edmonton. They'll be there Thursday. Gibson takes a slider away, 1-1. Meanwhile, Tacoma comes here to Salt Lake City. Beavers are going to dance around Tacoma for 3 months before they ever face them. 1-1 pitch is fouled off by Gibson, 1-2. Almost anywhere the Beavers go, Tacoma will go, and they'll just flip-flop cities. Portland opened against Las Vegas and Tucson, so did Tacoma, and now Tacoma playing Salt Lake and Edmonton, and the Beavers doing likewise, just flip-flopping series. Wow, that's loud. There's kids below us. 1-0 Salt Lake. We are in the bottom of the second. Portland doesn't play Tacoma until July 1st. The 1-2 pitch reached for by Gibson, fouled off, and it's still 1-2. And in 16 of the Beavers' final 64 games will be against the Tacoma Rainiers, their closest geographical rival and the AAA affiliate of the Seattle Mariners. Scoreboard says screen, and they do it again. The 1-2 pitch, cued toward first. A lot of English on it. Gerber stays with it. He waves off the pitcher and takes it to the bag, and they're 2 away.
Number 15, Tom Gregorio.
Right off the end of Gibson's bat. And here's the catcher, Tom Gregorio. 5 for 25 on the season with 1 home run. Bud Light wants to remind you to drink responsibly. If you're going to drink, please don't drive. Together we can all make a difference. 2 outs, nobody on base here in the bottom of the second. And the pitch from Hamilton, a fastball in there, 0-1. Hamilton is unlucky, and James, his opponent, has been lucky. The 0-1 pitch is lined toward left. That'll be a base hit. Knott gets it in. 2-out single for Gregorio. In the first inning, Adam Riggs, with 2 outs and nobody on, hit a ground ball to first that exploded in front of Joe Gerber. A bad hop double. And then Quinlan poked a single into right to score the run. Meanwhile, earlier in the first inning for the Beavers, they had 3 hits, including a double. But they came up empty. There was a key double play in the inning. And then Joe Gerber with second and third and 2 down hit a rocket to right that was caught by Gibson in his tracks. Brian Speck takes one on the outside corner, 0-1. Nothing Stings, bottom of the second. Hamilton's pitch turned over outside, 2 and in fact 1-1. Fastball waved at and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Leadoff man, center fielder Barry Wesson on deck. 2 years ago, Hamilton was Cincinnati's opening day starter. Couple of stints on the DL that year with a hamstring injury. Shoulder problems that plagued him for several years appear to be over. Hamilton's 1-2 pitch. Fastball got him looking. All right, Hamilton. We go to the third. 1-0 Salt Lake. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Salt Lake. Well, with summer fast approaching, your complete path to fitness begins at Maverick Sports Club, located at 2025 Northwest Overton. Maverick Sports Club, it's where you belong. In the Oregonian, every Monday, turn to Sports Extra for a full page of coverage on the Beavers in the minor leagues. For Beaver coverage, catch the Oregonian. It's practically indispensable. Top of the order for the Beavs here in the top of the third. Bernie Castro, Bobby Scales, John Knott. If anybody gets on base, Yamid Hod. Castro singled up the middle his first time up, but was then erased on a double play ball off the bat of Bobby Scales. Delvin James, a ninth-year professional. It has been an interesting career for Delvin. Change up away to Castro, ball one. And not so much what's gone on the field, but what's happened off the field. James into his wind in the 1-0 pitch. A change away, 2-0. This is with back-to-back off-speed pitches. 2-0 to Castro. James always finds himself in interesting situations. Castro takes the strike. One time he was in the wrong place at the right time, another place at the right time. James 2-1 pitch to Bernabel, and he swings and hits a dunker over short. It'll drop onto the turf for a base hit. Castro's 2 for 2. Last year, Bernie had 30 hits against Salt Lake, the most any one player has had against them during a single season in their 10-year history. Then after beginning this series, 0 for 9, he's now 2 for 2 this morning. And here's the DH, Bobby Scales, rounded into the DP, his first AB. 2 years ago, in September, James was pitching for the Devil Rays AAA Durham Bulls club. Pick off to first base, and Castro dives back in. And he happened to be in a Waffle House, which may have been part of the problem. It was early in the morning, and just an innocent bystander, and something happened. He was sitting in his booth, and he got shot in the shoulder. Fastball high and tight to Scales, ball one. It was his left shoulder, his non-pitching shoulder. 9 days later, he was back pitching and picked up a save for the Bulls in the International League playoffs, and a little while later he was back in the big leagues, his second stint with the Rays that year. Changeup pulled on the ground to the right side. It trickles into right, base hit. Castro around second. He'll hold there. Gibson with a good arm in right. And he was up with it quickly, and so first and second with nobody out. Tying run in scoring position. And that'll bring up John Knott. All he's done in this series is hit 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and goes 7 for 14. First and second, nobody out. James, a ground ball pitcher, looking for a double play ball. A look back. Then the pitch from Delvin, and Knott takes one high, ball 1. Knott single to left his first time up. 4 years ago, 2 years prior to being shot in that Waffle House in September of '02, James was down in the Florida Instructional League, September of 2000. A look back at second, and the 1-0 pitch, and Knott takes down and away. 2-0, and now Big John has the count his way. James and a couple of his Florida Instructional League teammates were on their way to the mall, and they noticed a scraggly-looking guy walking across the street and carrying a bank sack. The 2-0 pitch is chopped up along third. It'll be a foul ball. 2-1. And so they hopped out of their car and went and approached the guy. The guy saw them. He dropped the bag and ran off. It turned out he had just robbed a bank. He had something like $8,000 in 20s, 50s, and 100s in that bag. And so James and his 2 teammates were heroes. 2 on with nobody out. And the 2-1 pitch, swung on, line drive toward left field. It'll be a base hit. Castro had to hold up to see if it'd be caught. So even with his wheels, he has to hold up at third. Bases loaded, nobody out on 3 successive singles. Castro single to left center. Scales single to right. And not singles to left. John now 2 for 2. And that'll bring up Yamid Hod. He doubled to left his first time up. 1-0 Salt Lake, but the Beavers are in business here in the third. James and his teammates later pointed out the man across the street from the mall to police, and they captured the guy. How many of you out there can say that you have thwarted the bank robbery? Well, Delvin James can say that. Delvin ready from a stretch, and the pitch to Yamid, and he swings and lines one. Caught at third by Thrower. Steps on second. Double play. Thrower stepping on third base for the double play, and luckily Scales and Knott weren't wandering too far off second and first. Otherwise, there could have been a triple play. Hod hit the ball hard, and James continues to have good luck. I guess the universe owes him some after the Waffle House incident. Joe Gerber takes outside, ball 1. Gerber scorched a ball, his first at-bat to end the first inning. Lining out to right with runners at second and third. And so James now an out away from getting out of it unscathed. Gerber swings and grounds one on 2 hops to second. Picked up by Speck. Waits for Quinlan to get to the bag. And James pitches out of it. Bases loaded, nobody out, jam. A line drive double play off the bat of Yamid Hod, the key to the inning, and Castro had strayed too far off third base. Supposed to freeze on a line drive, and Bernie didn't do it. And that was a big key to that inning. We go to the bottom of the third inning. Amazingly, still 1-0 Salt Lake. third inning. It's 1-0 Salt Lake. Just yesterday, I was talking with San Diego's roving minor league base running instructor, Doug DeCenzo, about the importance of good base running. And some poor base running cost the Beavers in the top of the third. Bernie Castro, one of the things you're always taught, freeze on a line drive with less than 2 outs. Pitch taken in there by Barry Wesson, 0-1. 1-0 Salt Lake, bottom of the third. And Castro did not freeze on Yamid Hod's line drive to Jake Thrower third, and so Castro doubled off. It's popped up and fouled ground off first. Gerber coming over. He is near the tarp roller, and the ball back about 4 rows in. 0-2 to Barry Wesson. Beavers had the bases loaded, nobody out in the top of the inning. Hod line one to third. Thrower caught it, stepped on third to double off Hod. And then Joe Gerber did a one hopper to second, and the inning was over just like that. Hamilton's pitch, and Wesson swings and pops one foul off to the right again, back and out of play. Still 0-2. DeCenzo was saying that base runners have to be prepared. They have to think ahead and know what situations could happen. The 0-2 pitch, fastball high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. He said one of the best base runners he ever saw was Tony Fernandez. But he seemed to always know what was going on and was able to take the extra base. The 1-2 pitch, and it swung on a chopper toward third. One big hop to Rico. He straightens up and throws him out. Second time Wesson has chopped out to third, and there's one away for the shortstop Alfredo Amezaga. He chopped out to short his first time up. I was reading a story in Sports Illustrated a couple of weeks ago about Ted Williams. There's a biography coming out on Williams. Ted's certainly one of the greatest hitters of all time, but now the pitch to Amezaga is taken in there. In my mind, Ted will always be kept off the list of the greatest players of all time simply because the only thing he really cared about was hitting. Fastball in there, outside corner, 0-2. As manager of the Senators, Ted was standing around one day when a couple of coaches were discussing various cutoff plays. 0-1 pitch is taken outside, 1-2. The scoreboard says 1-1 to count, I believe 1-2 to Amezaga. And Ted finally told the coaches, forget that, let's hit. The 1-2 pitch is taken inside, missed with a cutter, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Adam Riggs on deck. This story concerns a base running, something said by Williams when he was still in the minor leagues back in the late 30s. The 2-2 pitch swung on and a pop up back a third. Out goes the shortstop Fermaniac, still going, dives and can't get it. It's a fair ball. Amezaga motives for 2. Will be in there with a double. Around second base, a big turn. John Knott comes up with it and throws it in. A loop double by Alfredo Amezaga with 1 down. Good effort by J.J. Fermaniac. He dived, but the ball just out of reach. Apparently one day, Williams had hit a double and was standing at second base, and his manager shouted something out to him, some sort of base running instructions, and Williams shouted back at his manager, hey, I got here by myself. I can find my own way home. That's what kind of base runner Ted Williams was, at least early in his career. Adam Riggs swings at a slider, doesn't get it, 0-1. Riggs had one of the key hits in the game so far, a bad hop double. Then he scored what to this point is the lone run of the game. The luck has gone the way of the Stings this morning. Hamilton ready. 2 looks back, and the pitch inside the Riggs. Sinker almost took a bite at him. 1-1. Amezaga has stolen 3 bases in 3 attempts. And very much a threat to go to third with 1 down. Second baseman Castro playing close to the bag, trying to keep him close. Breaking ball away. 2-1 to Riggs. Salt Lake got their run because of the bad hot base hit by Riggs. Meanwhile, Portland has left 5 men on base. Salt Lake has turned 2 double plays, including the line drive double play off the bat of Hod with the bases loaded, nobody out in the top of the inning. Pickoff to second. Castro comes in behind Meziga, and Alfredo read it well, gets back in standing. So if you believe it's better to be lucky than good, Salt Lake has been both today. Hamilton's 2-1 pitch inside to Riggs, 3-1. Or as Branch Rickey said, luck is the residue of design. Not in left, Kingsale in center, Petrick in right. The 3-1 pitch, fastball in there to Riggs, a full count. Riggs backs out, takes a practice hug. I think he thought the pitch was high. Homer Beaver climbs back in. Runner at second with 1 down. Hamilton shakes off Hod, and Riggs asks for time and backs out. Full count, runner at second, 1 down, bottom of the third. Salt Lake 1, Portland nothing. Hamilton looks back, and the full count pitch fouled off by Riggs. Still 3-2. Hamilton hadn't walked anybody yet this morning. 15 innings coming in, 5 walks and 10 strikeouts. He's K'd 2. Big Joey looks in. Hamilton shakes off Hod. Now picks a card. Joey ready. A check of Meziga. The 3-2 pitch pulled on the ground towards short. Meziga going third. Romaniak picks it up, throws out Riggs, and they're 2 away. Runner at third now. Here's Rob Quinlan. Thousands and thousands of kids here today. One of them on the public address system, and he's given Quinlan a hyphenated name. Rob Quinlan. Quinlan singled to right to drive home the lone run of the game. That was in the first. Hamilton from a windup, and the pitch to Rob taken high. Ball 1. However you pronounce it, Quinlan figures like he's got to get to the big leagues soon. 27 years old now. 2 years ago, the PCL MVP. Finally made his big league debut with Anaheim last year. The 1-0 pitch, and Quinlan takes the slider in there, 1-1. Garrett Anderson has missed 4 straight games with a stiff back. First time in his career. Anderson has missed 4 straight. He's just day-to-day for Anaheim. The 1-1 pitch to Quinlan, a fastball outside, 2-1. But if he should have to go on a DL, you'd have to figure like Quinlan would be the guy who got called up. Very deservedly so. Meziga coming down the line at third, and Hamilton working out of a windup, and Meziga coming a long way down. And the 2-1 pitch swung on and fouled off by Quinlan back into the third level, the suite level, and it rolls out back down into the second deck. 2-2 to Quinlan. 1-0 Salt Lake. Meziga 1 out loop double at third now with 2 down. Hamilton into his windup, and the 2-2 to Quinlan. Fastball fouled off. To go along with everything else, Quinlan strikes out less than 10% of the time. He's fouled off a couple. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hamilton kicks and fires, and Quinlan takes outside, and Hod fakes the throw to third. No one covering. Full count. Quinlan has walked more than he struck out. He leads the Stingers with 10 bases on balls. Struck out just 8 times. He takes low, ball 4. Hamilton tried to get him with a change, but missed, and Quinlan wouldn't chase it. Here's the left fielder, Gary Johnson. He struck out on the change his first time up. I doubt Hamilton will throw him a strike on the inside half. Johnson has shown himself to be susceptible to changes. So we'll see what happens. Mezega at third, Van Quinlan at first. 2 down, bottom of the third, 1-0 Salt Lake. A bad hop double led to a run in the first. Then Salt Lake trying to cash in on a loop double by Mezega here in the third. Hamilton's pitch, and Johnson swings and fouls it back off the screen. 0-1. Beavers have tomorrow off. Thursday they'll be in Edmonton. 5:35 airtime, 6:05 first pitch. Dennis Tankersley against Korean Sung Song. 0-1 pitch swung on and a line drive into center, base hit. Quinlan around second. He'll be at third on a single by Johnson. Hamilton tried to jam him with the fastball, and Johnson muscled it up the middle. It's 2-0 Salt Lake. And the luck continues to go the Stingers' way. Loop double, a key to the inning for another run. And here's third baseman Jake Thrower, fly to left his first time up. 2-0 Salt Lake. Thrower takes a look at a fastball on the outside corner. Stingers looking for a series split after dropping the first two. 5-0 and 8-4. They won last night 10-6 and lead today 2-0. Johnson leads at first. Stolen one base, and the pitch swung on. The fly ball hit toward left by Thrower. John Knott camped underneath it. He waits and brings it in, and the side retired. 2 men left on base for Salt Lake. They add a run. We go to the fourth. 2-0 Stingers. Salt Lake, top of the fourth. Beavers are back home on Monday, and if you're looking for a great place to take your co-workers, a church group, or a kid's birthday gathering, or any other group, try PGE Park. Groups of 15 or more receive ticket and merchandise discounts, and if you like, you can even reserve one of PGE Park's outstanding party areas for a catered all-you-can-eat meal. For details, call 503-553-5555. Top of the fourth inning, 2-0 Salt Lake. How different things could be if a couple of chips had fallen differently for the Beavs. Petrick grounded to third his first time up, and he looks at a change in the dirt. Portland had 3 hits in the first, including a double down the line by Hod, but there was a double play earlier in the inning. And Gerber's scorching line drive to right into the inning with runners at second and third. It's taken high by Petrick, 2-0. Then in the third inning, the Beavers had the bases loaded, nobody out. Hod hit another ball hard, lining into a double play. Slider away, ball 3. The Beavers have yet to post a run in spite of having 6 hits. And a boatload of hard-hit balls. The 3-0 to Petrick, and Ben takes outside, ball 4, a leadoff walk. Coming in, James had walked 6 in 14 2/3. And that's his first walk to go along with a hit batsman this morning. Rico Washington grounded the first, his first time up. Meanwhile, Salt Lake, 2 runs on 5 hits. A bad hop double by Riggs in the first. Otherwise, Hamilton would have gotten out of it unhurt, and Riggs later scored. And a loop double by Meziga in the third. Pitch inside to Rico, ball 1. Gene Kingsale on deck. Petrick a short lead at first. Rico waits, and he swings and pulls one foul. Matt Bruback coaching first. The ball behind Big Matt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rico 4 for 13 in the series. Left-hand hitter starting to get it going a bit. James peers into his battery mate Gregorio, and the pitch to Rico, and he swings and pulls one hard underneath the glove of the first baseman Quinlan, and down the line toward the corner, all the way down to the 3:15 mark. Waved home is Petrick. He will score. The throw comes in from Gibson on a double by Rico. 2-1 Salt Lake.
Center field, number 21, Gene Kingsale.
Gene Kingsale hit by a pitch his first time up. 7th hit for Portland, and their second for extra bases. Kingsale has struggled this year. 5 for 28, 179. 0 for 5 on Saturday. And back in the lineup here 3 days later. Rico leads at second. James checks him. He's the tying run out there, and Kingsale bunts it foul. Thrower was in on the grass at third, but Gene tried to lay it down anyway. Kingsale from Oranjestad, Aruba. Prior to last year, he and a couple of other big leaguers, Sidney Punzone, Calvin Maduro, were knighted in their native Aruba. Kingsale's played in the big leagues with 4 organizations. Diving back in is Rico on a pickoff play as Meziga came in behind him. Kingsale's been in the bigs with the Orioles, the Mariners, the Padres, and the Tigers. Now back in the Pods chain. Switch hitter batting left-handed, and Kingsale has a look at a change on the outside corner. 0-2. 2 years ago, Kingsale, after being acquired by the Padres, quickly became a fan favorite in San Diego. 0-2 pitch. Fastball got him looking on the outside corner.
Shortstop, number 33.
First strikeout for Delvin James. That brings up J.J. Fermaniak. Grounded into a force play at second base. His first AB. J.J. now 2 for 12 as a Beav. Joined Portland when the team got here to Salt Lake City on Saturday. J.J. swings and fouls one back, 0-1. Runner at second with 1 down now. Kingsale wanted at the very least to get the tying run over to third, but Gene couldn't do it. 2-1 Salt Lake. Top of the 4th. James has been in trouble all day, and the pitch to Fermaniak swung on, and a fly ball toward left. Starting in, but going back now is Johnson. He's got a play, and he reels it in, and Rico gets back to second. 2 away for Bernie Castro. He has singled twice, once to center, once to left center. Portland Beavers baseball presented by Portland General Electric. And the Beavers looking for their first series win this year. James fires, and Bernie chops one up along first. It's going to be a tough play. James fields it, runs to the bag, and takes it himself. Nice play by Delvin. The ball popped up right in front of him, and he gloved it and carried it over, and the side retired. Beavers get 1 run on the RBI double by Rico Washington following a leadoff walk. They leave a runner at second. To the bottom of the fourth we go. 2-1 Salt Lake. Bottom of the fourth inning, 2-1 Salt Lake. Derek Gibson, Tom Gregorio, Brian Specht against Joey Hamilton. Portland got a run back in the top of the inning on the walk to Petrick and the double into the right field corner by Rico Washington. So here's Gibson, grounded to first, his first time up. Kind of a hazy view this morning over the Wasatch Mountains. Snow-covered Mount Olympus. Out beyond dead center field, out beyond right, is Storm Mountain. On the other side of that, Park City. Gibson pops one up, foul ground, first base side. Hod coming over near the Stinger dugout, and it's back into the second row. 0-1 to Gibson. Not in left, Kingsale in center, Petrick in right, Gerber at first, Castro at second, Maniac at short, Washington at third. Hod back at the plate, Hamilton on the hill, and the 0-1 pitch, and Gibson has a look at a fastball away. Hamilton still gets his fastball up there, upper 80s, occasionally low 90s. 33-year-old Georgian deals, and Gibson takes one away, 2-1. Now with Petrick in right and Gerber at first, it seems like those two guys have been here a lot longer than they have. It's only been a week. It was 8 days ago Xavier Nady sprained his right ankle. Cutter chopped foul at home plate, 2-2 to Gibson. And it was just 10 days ago when Tag Bozade pulled his hamstring. We haven't gotten an update on either Nady nor Bozade. Well, I don't think either injury was as severe as originally thought. It seems like a lot long ago when those two guys last played. 2-2 pitch, chopper towards short, picked up by Maniac, throws across in time to get him. Gibson, 29 years old, still gets down the line pretty well. One away for the catcher, Tom Gregorio. Single to left his first time up. 1 run, 7 hits for Portland, 2 runs, 5 hits for Salt Lake. .345 down the left field line, .315 down the right field line, .420 to straightaway center. Cutter waved at and missed. 0-1 to Gregorio. Tom hitting at even 200 coming in. Just as Hamilton goes into his wind, Gregorio asks the time and backs out. Granted by the plate ump, Mark Morrow. Fastball outside. Salt Lake snapped their 5-game losing streak and the Beavers' 3-game winning streak last night, beating Portland 10-6. Salt Lake leads 2-1 today. The 1-1 pitch from Hamilton, and Gregorio looks at a fastball high. 2-1. By the way, yesterday the PCL named Beavers pitcher Brian Sweeney the Coast League Pitcher of the Week. The 2-1 pitch is on the way, swung on, and the fly ball towards center. Kingsale to his left, now going back, still going back, and now backpedals a couple of steps and brings it in. Gregorio flies out to center, 2 up, 2 down. And Hamilton looking for a 1-2-3 inning for the first time. Neither team has gone in order. I saw Sweeney this morning on the ride over here to the ballpark, and I said, "Hey, congratulations." And he gave me this quizzical look as if to say, "What are you talking about?" He didn't know. The award was given yesterday. Sweeney was 2-0 last week. 1 earned run in 12 innings pitched. Pitch foul back just off to our left and into the public address booth. 2 booths to our left. 0-1 to Speck. 2 years ago, Corey DeHaan fouled one off into this play-by-play booth. The 0-1 pitch, change-up swung on and missed, and the bat is dropped in the follow-through by Speck. Then Yamid Haad, not sure if that hit him or not. Haad adjusting his sunglasses before he puts his mask back on. 0-2 to Speck. Switch hitter batting left-handed chokes up. He takes a fastball away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck out looking on a fastball on the inside corner. His first AB. Odd deals the signs. A long piece of leather dangling off his catcher's glove. 1-2 pitch. Change up. Misses away. And Speck wouldn't chase it. Good idea. Hamilton winds, and the 2-2 pitch, and Speck swings and cues one right off the end of the bat toward third. Backhanded back of the bag by Rico. Long throw, not in time. Infield single for Speck. Good effort by Rico, but Speck runs too well. Right off the end of the bat. It was a great pitch by Hamilton. Took something off it again, and Speck cued it toward third. And gets a base hit out. Now, if they cash this in, a bat hop double and a pop fly double, they've accounted for their 2 runs. Meanwhile, the Beavers keep hitting the ball right on the button into bad luck. Bases loaded, nobody out, line drive, double play, etc. Fastball high to Wesson, ball 1. Alfredo Amezaga on deck. Rich Burke here in Salt Lake City. Edwin Lindley, Brian LaMartina back in studio. And there's a little jam shot dunker hit toward the right side. And it will scoot by Castro out onto the outfield grass. It's going to go as a double for Barry Wesson. What in the world is going on here? It jammed Wesson, and with a lot of English on it, it landed on the infield dirt. Castro going to his left. And with all the spin on it, it bounced behind him. Then was only about 30 feet out into right field. And Wesson ends up at second with a double. On the plate, Speck to third. Here's Amezaga, chopped to short, and hit that looper down the left field line for the double. And later scored in the third. An infield single, and really what amounts to an infield double. Minnesota Fats couldn't have played that cue ball any better. Fastball in there to Amezaga. 0-1. Brian Speck, an infield single. Then Barry Wesson got jammed. And he ends up at second base. The 0-1 pitch to the dangerous Amezaga swung on, fly ball toward left center field. Out goes Fermaniac. In comes Knott. They're converging. Fermaniac makes the catch above his head. So Hamilton gets out of the jam, and a little bit of luck goes the Beavers' way. We head to the top of the 5th, 2-1 Salt Lake. Catch all the Beavers action on OregonLive.com, including webcasting of our radio coverage. You'll always get the latest scores, schedules, and player information. And you can talk baseball on the Beavers Forum. OregonLive.com. They have your sports covered. Top of the fifth, it's 2-1 Salt Lake. Bobby Scales, John Knott, and Yamid Hod against Delvin James. He's thrown 49 pitches through 4 innings, and there's a right-hander back of him out in the bullpen. James' fastball is taken low, ball 1. Scales has grounded into a double play and singled. The single was the middle of 3 straight that loaded the bases with nobody out in the third. Pitch taken high, 2 balls and no strikes. But then Hod lined into the double play at third base as Castro strayed too far off. James' 2-0 pitch, and Bobby takes one low, ball 3. Leadoff walk in the last inning led to the Beaver run. The 3-0 to Scales, and he's taken all the way. Fastball in there. James comes back on 3-1. Fastball inside, ball 4. Another leadoff walk for the Beavs. Second free pass issued by James, and that'll bring up Knott. He has singled twice. Right-hander working out in the Salt Lake bullpen. That's Derek Turnbow. One-time Rule 5 draft pick of the Angels. James ready in the pitch to Knott, and John looks at an off-speed bender outside, ball 1. Tying run at first. And John Knott at the plate. He takes a change in there, 1-1. Knott 8 for 15 in the series. Knott born in Manassas, Virginia. Knott waits a look at first and the 0-1 pitch, and he has a half swing at an off-speed pitch. Around he went. In fact, now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Scoreboard says 0-2. Knott lived for just only about 5 years in Virginia. Otherwise, we might call him the Manassas Mauler. Not to be confused with Jack Dempsey, Manassas, Colorado, the Manassas Mauler. James steps off. Knott climbs back in. He has mauled the baseball this year, particularly of late. 4 home runs, 2 in this series. Pick off to first, and Scales dives back in. Bobby hasn't attempted a steal yet this year. Does run well. James ready, and the 1-2 pitch, changeup is cued foul at home plate. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Scales stole 11 bases in 13 attempts last year between 2 levels, AA Mobile and AAA Portland. Final game of the series. It's 2-1 Salt Lake. We're in the top of the 5th. Beavers have threatened all afternoon with little to show for it. They've left 6 on base, and the Stings have turned 2 double plays. The 1-2 to Knott, he takes a fastball high, 2-2. That was a show-me pitch right there. He showed him the fastball, and now probably go back to the change. Knott again has singled twice today. Scales leads at first. Quinlan holds him on. Outfield straight away on Knott. James ready. And the 2-2 pitch. Off-speed pitch cued out towards second. Speck goes to Amezaga for 1. Back to first. Double play. Amezaga even double clutched before releasing the ball. Scales bearing down on him, and Amezaga throws out Knott at first. 2 outs and nobody on. Third BP turned in the game by Salt Lake. Here's Yamid Hod. Hit the ball hard twice, doubling into the left field corner and lining out to third. Slider low, ball 1. That was one of the key at-bats in this game. Bases loaded, nobody out, and Hott ripped one that was caught at third by Thrower. And here he rips one towards center, a couple of steps to his right to bring it in is Barry Wesson, and the side retired. Through 4.5 here in Salt Lake City, Stingers 2 and Portland 1. Bottom of the fifth inning, it's 2-1 Salt Lake. Adam Riggs, Rob Quinlan, Gary Johnson against Joey Hamilton. Hamilton's thrown 78 pitches through 4, by and large due to the bad luck that he's pitched into. Bad hop double by Riggs in the first, otherwise it would have been a 1-2-3 inning. And that was followed by the base hit by Quinlan to get the Stings on the board. Then the loop double in the third by a Mezida, top fly down the left field line that dropped just inside the chalk. Otherwise, the third might have been a 1-2-3 frame, but Salt Lake added the run there. Beavers got one back in the fourth. 2-1 Stings, bottom of the fifth. Hamilton's pitch swung on and pulled towards short. For Maniac up with it. J.J. fires it across ahead of Riggs by a half step. One pitch, one down in the bottom of the fifth. And Rob Quinlan comes up, singled and walked, and drove home a run. Stingers, the AAA affiliate of the Anaheim Angels, world champions 2 years ago. Angels came into existence 44 years ago, really because of Major League Baseball's fear of a third major league. Slider down and away, ball one to Quinlan. Branch Rickey has been credited with many things. Integration, the farm system, spring training. Pitch taken in there by Quinlan. 1-1. But indirectly, he can be credited with Major League expansion in the early 1960s. The 1-1 pitch is taken in there by Quinlan. 1-2. Back in the late 1950s, Rickey led a group trying to form a third major league, the Continental League. 1-2 pitch is taken low. 2-2 to Quinlan. And big league owners, they saw their monopoly slipping away. And so they hurriedly threw together 4-team expansion in 1961 and 62. And they went into the cities that the Continental League was going to go into. 2-2 pitch off the end of the bat. Hit hard out toward Castro. Picks it up and throws Quinlan out. 2 up and 2 down here in the fifth. Fourth time in 5 innings that Hamilton has gotten the first 2 guys to face him in an inning, but he has yet to retire the side in order. And here's Gary Johnson, struck out and singled home a run. They put new teams in Los Angeles and New York, 2 of the key markets of the Continental League. And that pretty much spelled the end for the third big league circuit. Off-speed pitch waved at and missed by Johnson, 0-1. And how quickly did the big leagues expand? Gene Autry went to the baseball winter meetings prior to the 1961 season. who was looking for radio rights for his burgeoning Southern California radio network. He came home with a team. It's taken low, 1-1 to Johnson. The brand new Angels, they played their first few years in Dodger Stadium, which they referred to as Chavez Ravine. Pop up on the infield. J.J. Fermaniak looks up into the bright blue, waits and waits. It was way up there, and he brings it in. And the side retired in order for the first time today. To the sixth we go, 2-1 Salt Lake. Five in the books here in Salt Lake City. 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for Portland. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Salt Lake. Delvin James is gone. 5 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, a hit batsman, 1 strikeout. James dodged bullet after bullet through the first 5 innings. Well, we're talking about Delvin. It may not be the best phrase to use. Guy who, as we mentioned earlier in the game, was one time shot in a Waffle House, an innocent bystander. Here's Joe Gerber, who will start it off with the Beavs here at the top of the 6th. They had one of the key ABs so far in the game in the first inning, with runners at second and third and 2 down. Did a laser beam to right that was caught by Derek Gibson. 10 feet to the right or left, and that drives home 2. The pitch from Derek Turnbow is taken high and tied ball 1. Turnbow throws very hard, low to mid-90s. 6'3", 210 pounds, lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. The 1-0 pitch, and foul back by Gerber, 1 ball, 1 strike. Turnbow's 1-1 to Gerber, and Joe fouls it back. The cut fastball jammed in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Turnbow was originally Philadelphia Phillies property, selected by the Angels in the Rule 5 Major League Draft prior to the 2000 season. Turnbow's 1-2 pitch swung on and pulled hard and foul down the right field line. Back into the seats. Still 1-2 to Joe Gerber. Then Petrick on deck, and then Rico Washington. 2-1 Salt Lake, top of the 6th. Because he was a Rule 5 pick, Turnbow had to spend the entire 2000 season in the major leagues with Anaheim. If they wanted to send him down, they first had to offer him back to his previous team, the Phillies. They thought so much of him, they kept him there, a roster spot all year. Gerber fouls one back. Still 1-2. There's 24 appearances in 2000 for the Angels. For Turnbow, being there all year. 1 start. No record. ERA was a decent 4.74. Didn't get back to the big leagues until last year. 1-2 pitch is grounded by the mound. To his right is Speck. Gloves it, throws, and gets him. Nice backhand play by Speck. And Gerber doesn't have great wheels. And there's one down. Castro or Scales might have beaten that out, but not Joe Gerber. Nice backhand play by Brian Speck. One away for Ben Petrick. Grounded to third and walked. Walked leading off the fourth and scored the only Beaver run. 2-1 Salt Lake, down to the sixth. Turnbow's pitch, and it swung on and missed by Petrick. 0-1. Turnbow made 11 appearances for Anaheim last year. His ERA was a microscopic .59. Petrick takes a slider low, 1-1. Turnbow, a Tennessee boy, again lives now in Arizona. Hard throwing right-hander is 1-1 to Petrick, then takes a fastball high. Brandon Puffer was throwing out in the Beaver bullpen. That may be it for Joey Hamilton. 87 pitches through 5 innings. 2-1 Salt Lake, top of the sixth. Petrick waits the pitch from Turnbow, a fastball low. 3-1. Rico Washington on deck. Rico standing a long way away from the Beaver dugout, getting as close to behind home plate as possible to check out the offerings from Turnbow. 3-1 from Derek to Petrick, swung on and missed, chased a high fastball, full count. I think he went after ball 4. Turnbow last year, 7 appearances, AA Arkansas. 35 appearances with Salt Lake. 1-2, 5.73. The payoff to Petrick, swung on and a fly ball down the right field line, slicing toward the corner. It's a fair ball up against the fence on one hop. Petrick into second. He's around second. He'll dig for third. Here he comes. Here's the relay from Speck. Not in time. Head first dive and a triple for Petrick with 1 down.
Third baseman, number 20, Rico Washington.
Petrick, caught for a lot of years in the Rockies chain, has always run well. He's just 27 years old. Man, he motored from home to third very quickly on that ball down into the corner. A 1-out triple brings up Rico Washington. And in the 2-1 game here in the sixth, the infield going to stay back. The ground ball anywhere but the mound or hard to third would get him home. And the pitch popped up. Left side, foul ground. Thrower is there. He waits. He's got it. And there are 2 away.
Center field, number 21, Gene Ginsey.
Even with the Beavers' 3-game winning streak, they had won 5 of 7. They have not been a great situational hitting team. That's about the 4th time in the last 2 games with a runner at third and less than 2 out in a close game when they couldn't get him home. Pitch to Gene Kingsale, fastball away, 1-0. Kingsale hit by a pitch and struck out. Turnbow ready from a stretch. The 1-0 to Kingsale. He swings, sends a fly ball towards shallow left. Coming in on the ball is Johnson. He's there. He waits. He's got it. And the Beavers waste a chance here in the 6th. To the bottom of the 6th we go. 2-1 Salt Lake. Bottom of the sixth inning, 2-1 Salt Lake. Jake thrower Derek Gibson, Tom Gregorio against the new pitcher, right-hander Brandon Puffer. Joey Hamilton, extremely unlucky this afternoon. 5 innings, 7 hits, including a bad hop double that led to a run, a pop fly double that led to a run. Gave up just 2 runs in the 5 innings, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And now Brandon Puffer, out of Mission Viejo, California, lives now in Round Rock, Texas. And he'll face Jake Thrower, switch hitter batting left-handed, who is twice flied out to left. Fastball in there to Thrower, 0-1. Brandon Dwayne Puffer. Washington has stepped back in the bag at third. Thrower waits, and the pitch from Puff, and it's swung on and pulled foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Puffer's 9th appearance, no record, 2.31 ERA. Still giving up just 3 earned runs on the year. All 3 in his first appearance of the season in Vegas. Since then, he's been outstanding. Puffer ready, and the 0-2 pitch is chopped toward third. 2 hops to Rico. Picks up the big hop, throws across in time to get Thrower. So Hamilton can't win it. You can lose it or have nothing to do with it. Derek Gibson grounded to first, grounded to short. Puffer made 55 appearances in the middle relief role 2 years ago for Houston, 13 more last year. Career big league mark 3-3, 4.60. Fastball high to Gibson, ball 1. Rich Burke here at Franklin Covey Field in Salt Lake City. The 1-0 pitch, and it swung on, and a broken bat hopper to the right side. Castro to his left to glove it at 360, and he throws, and hits the umpire in the backside. He hit umpire Todd Tickner right in the lump. Castro fielded that ball, and turning wildly and throwing in one motion hit the umpire. Otherwise, the ball might have ended up over near the Salt Lake dugout. And the kids here getting a big laugh out of that one. There is something you've never seen before. Unbelievable. It'll be a base hit for Gibson. He still runs well. Castro knew it, and he knew he had to hurry the throw, but he didn't even look at first base. Out of a stretch is Puffer, a look at Gibson, and the pitch to Gregorio swung on, grounded to short. Permaniak goes to Castro, who turns to first. This time his throw on the money and nowhere near the backside of first base umpire Todd Tickner, and the inning is over. A 6-4-3 double play. We go to the 7th, 2-1 Salt Lake. The Pepsi PCL scoreboard, 3 other day games today in the Pacific Coast League. Nashville leading Oklahoma 5-2 there in the top of the 7th inning. All the runs came in the 5th in that one. Top of the 4th inning, Colorado Springs leading Iowa 4-0. They had a 4-run first. And they're in the top of the 4th inning in Omaha. 2-1 O-Royals over Albuquerque. Later on, New Orleans at Memphis, Sacramento at Las Vegas, Fresno at Tucson, and Tacoma at Edmonton. Edmonton 1 game back of Salt Lake in the north. Tacoma game and a half out, and the Beavos 4 back. For Maniac, Castro, and Scales for the Beavers against Derek Turnbow here in the 7th. 1 run, 8 hits, no errors for Portland. 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Salt Lake. Turnbow ready his 2nd inning of work, and for Maniac takes a hard fastball high, ball 1. JJ has grounded out and flied to left. Turnbow ready. Then the right-hander's 1-0 pitch swung on and popped up right side. Shallow right field. The second baseman Speck looks up into the bright blue sky. He's got it. And there's 1 away.
Second base, number 3, Bernie Castro.
That'll bring up Bernie Castro. Singled twice and chopped out. Thrower even with a bag at third base. Now Quinlan, the first baseman, comes in. Castro likes to push bunts toward the second baseman. Bernie shows bunt, now slaps at it and comes up empty, 0-1. One the count to Castro. Switch to batting left-handed. Gregorio sets up inside corner, and Bernie bends back on one high and tight. 1-1. Bobby Scales on deck. Occasionally, managers will have the second baseman play in shallow on guys who really like to bunt, but not so Mike Brumley. Castro shows bunt, takes outside. 2-1. I believe it was Joe Torre who did that last year against Juan Pierre in the World Series. Two-1 from Turnbow to Castro, and Bernie swings and chops one foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Salt Lake 1 in the first, 1 in the third. The Beavers 1 in the fourth. And that's it. Portland has yet to be retired in order. They've left 7 men on base, 5 in scoring position, and they've hit into 3 double plays. The 2-2 to Castro, swung on and poked towards short. Bat out. Mezica stays with it. Throws across in time. Nice play by Alfredo. 2 down for the DH, Bobby Scales. Grounded into a double play, singled and walked. Beavers had Joe Gerber line out to right with runners at second and third to end the first. They had Yamid Hod up with the bases loaded, nobody out in the third, and he lined into a double play to the third baseman Jake throws. Castro wandered too far off. Fastball in there to Scales, 0-1. Then they had a double by Rico Washington to drive home the run in the 4th inning. He was at second with nobody out, and they left him at second. Scales swings and comes up empty, 0-2. Then Portland had a 1-out triple by Ben Petrick in the 6th inning. And with the infield back, trailing it by a run, Rico Washington fouled out. The 0-2 pitch is taken low. All they needed was a ground ball for a run, and they didn't get it. So 2-1 Salt Lake, top of the 7th. Finale of the series here in Utah's capital city. Fastball away. 2-2 to Scales. John Knott standing out on deck, hoping to get a chance here in the 7th. There's a right-hander throwing back a Turnbow. This is probably Derek's last inning. Rarely goes more than 2. The 2-2 pitch, and Scales takes high and away, ball 3. I believe that's Scott Dunn out in the bullpen who worked the opener of the series. Turnbow bent at the waist, now straightens up. 2 outs, nobody on. The payoff pitch, and Scales slaps it foul. Still a full count. Portland Beavers baseball brought to you by Portland General Electric. Throngs of kids here this morning in Salt Lake City. The 3-2 pitch, outside, ball 4. Tying run on base. Here comes John Knott, 2 for 3. Singled to left twice and bounced into a 4-6-3 double play. All that against starter Delvin James. Not a fastball hitter. Turnbow, a fastball pitcher. Should be an interesting duel. Scales at first. Hadn't attempted a steal yet this year, but again, he stole 11 bases last year. So here's Knott. 3 doubles and 2 home runs in the series. And the pitch to Big John. A fastball away, ball 1. Hamid Hod on deck. The catcher Gregorio had to talk things over with Turnbow, and Derek scratching like a bull ready to charge as he was scraping at the front of the pitching mound. The Gregorio quick word, and I don't know if Turnbow was peeved by him coming out there, but Gregorio turned and jogged back to home plate, and Derek walked intently back behind the mound. Now just as quickly back up on top. Turnbow ready. A look at Scales at first. And a pickoff throw over there. And Bobby dives back in. Outfield straight away on Knott. And medium depth. Two-one Salt Lake, top of the 7th. 2 out, Scales at first. Turnbow ready. And the pitch to Knott, a fastball low, 2-0. And now John can look for his pitch. Big John Knott, 6'3", 220 pounds. Florida native waits. A look at Scales at first. Turnbow ready. Long look, and now he steps off. And now Knott climbs back in, calmly touches his bat on the inside corner of home plate. The Beavers' leader in home runs waits. Scales fakes, and Knott takes high, ball 3. Yesterday, Knott hit a double to left center field on a 3-0 pitch. A lot of hitters don't like to swing on 3-0. They feel like they know a lot's expected of them. Knott apparently does. The 3-0 pitch, and he's swinging and fouls it off. 3-1. Three and 1 to Knott. Scales at first. 2 outs. They send him on 3-1. Let's see if Scales is going. He is. And the 3-1 pitch, a fastball for a strike. Gregorio's throw is not in time. And Scales has his first steal of the year. Full count to Knott with a tying run at second base and 2 down here in the 7th. A base hit here to tie the game would change the complexion of this game entirely. Full count to Knott. Turnbow ready. Big John waits. Hard throwing right-hander's pitch, and Knott swings and chops one toward the right side. Backhand play by Quinlan, throws to Turnbow, covering in time. And the Beavers leave another runner in scoring position. Stretch time here in Salt Lake City. 2-1 Stingers. bottom of the 7th inning, 2-1 Salt Lake. Brian Speck, Barry Wesson, Alfredo Amezaga, 9-1-2. Speck is struck out and had an infield single. 2-1 Salt Lake. This has been a more frustrating game than the Beavers have played all year. They've left 8 men on base, 6 in scoring position. Salt Lake has turned 3 double plays. Pupper's sidearm fastball is outside, ball 1. Beavers at the bases loaded, nobody out in the 3rd, and didn't score. Speck bunts it up along 3rd, foul ball, 1-1. Yamit Hod lined to the 3rd baseman Jake Thrower, and Castro wandered off the bag too far and got doubled off. Joe Gerber then hit the ball fairly hard and grounded out to 2nd to end the threat. Gerber had smoked the ball back in the 1st to end the inning with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Slider low, 2-1 to Speck. One from Puffer, swung on and fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch, off-speed pitch, pulled into right, base hit for Speck. Nice job to keep his hands back and stay with that pitch. A change from Puffer, the leadoff man aboard here in the 7th. Here's the center fielder, Barry Wesson. Is twice chopped out to 3rd and then got jammed and hit that ball with a lot of English on it to the left of Castro at 2nd. Bernie had the ball bounce in front of him and spun and went behind him. And by the time the dust had cleared, Wesson had an infield double as the ball went out onto the grass and right. Will they have him up there bunting? He is not, and he takes a slider low, ball 1. Mike Brumley going through the signs in the 3rd base coaching box. Speck has stolen 1 base this year. His only attempt held on by Gerber. Puff Daddy looks in. Now nods yes to Hod. Pick off throw to 1st and back to the bag. Standing goes Speck. Two-1 Salt Lake, looking for some insurance here in the bottom of the 7th. Puffer nods yes to Hod, now ready. He'll look at Speck, another throw over there, and again Brian dives back in. Scott Dunn again up and throwing out of the Salt Lake pen. He should be on to work the 8th. 3rd throw to 3rd base by Puffer, again Speck back in. 1-0 the count on Wesson. Alfredo Amezaga on deck. Puffer now straightens up, a check of first base, and the 1-0 pitch. Fastball in there to Wesson, 1-1. There he came in hitting .230 with 2 home runs. 1 for 3 today. .25 minutes past 12 here in Salt Lake. We are in the bottom of the 7th. Pick off the 1st. Speck dives back in. Wesson checked with Brumley again. Now steps back into the batter's box. 1-1 the count. Speck leads. Puffer ready. And the 1-1 pitch. A pitch out, but nothing doing. And Hod was coming out of his crouch for a pitch out, but the ball, while high, was basically over the plate. There's ball 2 to Wesson, 2-1. Wesson, a good guy to put a play on with. 2-1, the best hit and run count. Speck takes his lead. He fakes, and the pitch taken down and in, 3-1. In the top of the inning, the Beavers sent Bobby Scales with 2 outs on a 3-1 pitch. Now with nobody out, let's see if the Stingers send Speck. 3-1, he is going. Swung on chopper toward 3rd. Glove back of the bag by Rico. Turns and fires across. A strike to Gerber. And on the play, down to 2nd goes Speck. On that high chop of the third back of the bag, even if Speck wasn't going, he might have been safe down at second base anyway. So a run and hit chopper. Van Wesson is grounded out. And Speck now at second. Here's the shortstop, Alfredo Amezaga. Chopped to short. Looped a double in the third and scored. And popped to short. Third time today that Wesson has chopped out to Rico Washington at third base. Runner at second with one down. Speck leads. Puffer checks him and fires to Amezaga. And Alfredo takes a cutter inside, ball one. 2-1 Salt Lake. Last of the seventh. The 1-0 to Amezaga, and Alfredo takes a fastball at the knees, 1-1. Tomorrow, the Beavers' first off day this year. Fly back to Portland tonight, spend the off day at home, and then fly to Edmonton Thursday morning. 4 games there, and then back at PGE Park on Monday. Change up low, 2-1. We'll be back here in Salt Lake City in 3 months at the end of July. Salt Lake comes to Portland in 6 days. Open up a 4-game series on Monday. Puffer checks Speck. He's going to third. The pitch high. Odd throw. Tagged by Rico. Not in time. Speck swipes third with one down. 3-1 to Alfredo Amezaga. And the Beavers will bring the infield in here in the 7th, trailing at 2-1. Amezaga, a pesky hitter. Tough to strike out. He, like Quinlan, K's less than 10% of the time. Infield in. Puffer, not a strikeout pitcher. And he's behind in the count 3-1 with the dangerous Adam Riggs on deck. And now Puffer steps off. Just as quickly back on. Runner at third, one down. The 3-1 pitch swung on and fouled. Back toward where Riggs is in the on-deck circle. Full count. Puffer needs a strikeout or a pop-out or a shallow fly-out. The outfield shallow as well, especially not in left and Kingsale in center. Teacher can ride the deepest of the trio. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. 2-1 Salt Lake, bottom of the 7th. Puffer from a stretch. Speck down the line at third base. Infield in. Full count on Amezaga. Switch hitter batting left-handed. And a pickoff to third, and getting back in is Speck. Rico went over to cover. I haven't seen that in a long time. Pickoff play at third base from the pitcher. Speck down the line. And the 3-2 pitch swung on. A looper down the left field line. Could be trouble. Not comes over it. Drops foul on the bullpen mound. Amezaga hit one just there in that same spot 4 innings ago. Still a full count. All the luck has gone Salt Lake's way today. Bad hop double in the first led to a run. A loop double by Amezaga in the third led to a run. And the Beavers have hit bullets right at people. The 3-2 pitch, and it's a change. Chopper toward first, coming to the plate is Speck. Gerber's throw, the tag by Hod. They got him. Great job by Joe Gerber. And Amezaga safe at first, and there are 2 down now. Speck coming all the way, and probably shouldn't have, but he made the Beavers make a throw, which is a gamble you can take when you got a lead, and Gerber made the throw. Now Amezaga aboard at first base, 3 for 3 in steal attempts this year, and he'll probably try to make a break for it at some point as Riggs climbs in. Hit the bad hop double, is twice grounded out to short. Pick off to first. Amezaga hesitated, then dives back in. 2-1 Salt Lake. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Left-hander Mike Bynum starts to throw in the Beaver bullpen. Puffer's fastball in there on the inside corner. 0-1 to Riggs. Puffer lives now in Round Rock, Texas. Runs a business down there with a couple of other pro ball players called the Hitting Zone. Slider outside, plucked out of the dirt by Hod, 1-1. One of the guys he runs it with, PCL player by the name of Dave Matranga, I believe in New Orleans. Puffer, formerly of New Orleans, took off throw to first, and back in goes Amezaga. Matter of fact, one of the guys who didn't run the business with Puffer but works for him and teaches lessons there at the Hitting Zone in Round Rock, Texas, is Brian Gordon, who plays for Salt Lake. Got hit by that Tim Burdack pitch last night, out of the lineup today. 1-1 pitch swung on a fly ball toward right field. Going back on the ball is Petrick. Near the warning track, he's there. He's got it, and the inning is over. By the way, Puffer a couple of days ago struck out Gordon, but they won't face each other today. And after a runner at third with one down, Puffer pitches out of it as they threw out Speck at the plate, and he gets Riggs to fly to right. To the eighth inning we go. Hod, Gerber, and Petrick do up for the Beavs. It's 2-1 Salt Lake.
There is
Portland Beavers baseball is brought to you in part by Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi, by Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer, by Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. And by Portland General Electric. We do this every day. Here's Yamid Hod, doubled, lined into a double play, and lined out to center, and he takes a fastball high and tied ball one. For the Beavers, it seems like Groundhog Day, just over and over again. Talking about PGE, and we do this every day. Over and over again, the Beavers have lost opportunities. Hod takes low and away, ball 2-0 from the new pitcher, Scott Dunn. Beavers have left 8 on base. They've hit into 3 double plays. They had the bases loaded, nobody out in the third. Hod lined into a double play, and nobody scored. They trail 2-1 here in the top of the 8th. Hod followed by Gerber and Petrick. The 2-0 pitch, and Hod takes a strike. 2-1. Yamid from Cartagena, Colombia, followed by a couple of guys from the Portland metro area. The 2-1 to Yamid. Fastball in there on the outside corner, 2-2. He means capitalizing on his opportunities to play, which aren't many. 5 hits being his last 11 at-bats. 2 doubles and 2 home runs. The 2-2 from Dunn. Fastball fouled off by Yamid. Dunn made 6 appearances last year at Salt Lake. After coming over in a trade with the White Sox, the deal that sent Scott Schoenweiss to the Sox. The 2-2 from Dunn, and Hod swings into fly ball towards shallow left center. Johnson comes in. He's there, and he's got it. And there's one away here in the Bevo 8.
Now batting is the first baseman, number 12, Joe Gerber.
Dunn worked 2 innings on Saturday in the Bevo's 5-0 win. 2 hits, a walk, and a run. Gave up a 430-foot home run to John Knott. Dunn works Gerber with a fastball, high ball 1. Joe has lined out to right and twice grounded out to second base. Could easily have a couple of hits today. This line drive was right at Gibson and right in the first inning with runners at second and third to end the inning. 15 feet either way, and it's a 2-bagger at least. He fouls one off, 1-1. Then in the 6th inning, nice backhand play back at the second base bag by Brian Speck to throw him out. He was trailed by a run, 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Dunn's second year at AAA. The 1-1 fastball is in there. 1-2. Originally a 10th rounder by the Reds in 1999. The 1-2 from Dunn is taken low. Was traded twice last year, early July, from the Reds to the White Sox, and then 3 weeks later from the Sox to the Angels. Half swing by Gerber, a look at third. No swing, says Armendariz. Full count to Gerber. Since he's gotten here, Gerber has had a quality at-bat almost every time. The 3-2 pitch, and he swings and fouls it off. That was a hang with him right there. Fought off, off-speed pitch low and away. And the count remains full. Ben Petrick on deck. Dunn out of the University of Texas. Gerber waits. Then another 3-2 pitch, and Joe swings and fouls another one back. The throw back from home plate gets away from Dunn, and the shortstop Amezga comes over and picks it up. Scott Dunn, 6'3", 180 pounds. Another Texan, born and still lives in San Antonio. The starter, Delvin James from Nacogdoches. Fastball got him swinging. Gerber looked back at the plate umpire, Mark Morrow, as if to say, did I swing at a strike? Morrow didn't appear to make a motion either way. Well, Gerber strikes out. And there are 2 away for Ben Petrick. Just the second time this year, more than 20 plate appearances, that Gerber has K'd. And Petrick takes high ball 1. He is grounded to third, walked, and tripled to right with 1 out of the 6th. The Beavers with the infield back could not get the tying run home. The 1-0 pitch swung on and missed. 1-1 to Petrick. Then 4 for 19, now 5 for 20 on the year with the Beavs. He waits, and the 1-1 from Dunn, and he swings and comes up empty, 1-2 behind that fastball. Right into throwing out of the Salt Lake pen. I believe that's Steve Andrade, who does have 3 saves this year. And it is. The 1-2 to Petrick, a fastball got him looking. And for the first time today, the Beavers go in order. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 2-1 Salt Lake.
Why is Champions all...
Inning, 2-1, Salt Lake. Mike Bynum, trying to keep it a one-run ball game, comes out of the Beaver bullpen. The third pitcher, utilized by Craig Colbert. Fastball, high ball one. Bynum making his 8th appearance, 0-2, 2.31 ERA. Does have one save. Fastball fouled off to the right by Quinlan. 1 ball, 1 strike. On deck, Gary Johnson and then Jake Shaw. Then a bit gets aboard Derek Gibson. When the Beavers come up in the 9th, they'll have the bottom third of the batting order due up. Rico Washington, Gene Kingsale, J.J. Fermaniac. The 1-1 pitch, fastball high. And no, the Beatles haven't appeared on the scene. The crowd screaming because the scoreboard asked them to. Sounds like the Ed Sullivan Show 40 years ago. The 2-1 pitch. Fastball swung on and missed 2-2. Bynum worked on Sunday, 2 innings, 3 hits, and a run. Quinlan singled against him, an infield hit that drove home the run. Bynum gave up. Slider taken low, good pitch, but just missed. Full count. Bynum parts of the last 2 years in the major leagues, and the Padres thinking of him now as a left-handed reliever. Slider popped up, right side. Going out is Gerber, going out is Castro. Gerber in foul ground in the bullpen. Hauls it in. Bynum retires a tough hitter in Rob Quinlan. And that'll bring up left fielder Gary Johnson, 1 for 3 today. Singled home a run in the 3rd. Padres' lone left-handed reliever in the big leagues right now is Eddie Oropesa, and he's been struggling. Walked all 3 hitters he faced on Sunday. And there's Bynum, who's been doing the job here in AAA. Fastball inside, ball 1. And you would have to think, if things continue as they are, that Bynum would get a shot in the big leagues. Lefty against lefty. These are the guys that the Padres want Bynum in particular to get out, the left-hand hitters. Fastball on the inside corner, 1-1. 2-1 Salt Lake, last of the 8th. Bynum looks into Hod. Kingsale shading Johnson to the opposite field. And the 1-1 pitch, a fastball high, 2-1. Each team has gone in order only once. Scott Dunn worked a 1-2-3-8. Steve Andrade, who was the closest thing the Stingers have to a closer, he sat down out in the pen. And since Dunn worked so quickly in the 8th, Andrade may not come in. Slider in there, 2-2 to Johnson. One run, 8 hits for the Beavs. 2 runs, 9 hits for the Stings. Bynum ready. Hod sets up outside corner. 2-2 fastball misses high. Full count. Went full on Quinlan. Got him to foul out to first. And now full on Johnson. Joey Hamilton threw well. 5 innings, 7 hits, including a bad hop double and a pop fly double that led to the 2 Salt Lake runs. 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Fastball cued foul outside third down the line. Still a full count to Johnson. Brandon Puffer, 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs. And now left-hander Mike Bynum. Bynum 6'4", 200 pounds. Southpaw ready, another 3-2 pitch. Fastball, ground ball back by Bynum over second into center, base hit. And a one-out single for Johnson brings up Jake Thrower.
At bat is the third baseman, number 12, Jake Thrower.
Thrower will turn around about right-handed, and he has hit well as a right-hand hitter this year. Thrower 6 for 14 as a right-hand hitter with the double. Johnson runs well. He's stolen one base, and Bynum has an outstanding pickoff move. Mike looking for a double play ball here. Gerber holds on the runner, and the pitch from Bynum, fastball in there, outside corner, 0-1 to Thrower. Beautiful Wasatch Mountains in the distance, so close you feel like you can touch them. Some of that snow has melted just since we got here. 0-1 pitch, a slider, backdoors him on the outside corner, 0-2. Derek Gibson on deck. Salt Lake looking for some insurance. They lead Portland 2-1 here in the bottom of the 8th. Thrower back in. Bynum peers into his battery mate Hod. Mike ready, a look at Johnson at first, and the 0-2 pitch. Fastball, got him looking. Thrower never took the bat off his shoulders. 2 fastballs and a slider, and down he goes. Here's Derek Gibson. Grounded to first, grounded to short. Infield single to second. Johnson leads at first. Again held on by Gerber. Gibson waits. Then Bynum stepped off. Bynum again has an outstanding pickoff move. A look at first. And the pitch on the way, and Gibson swings and drives one to the gap in deep right center. That'll be back toward the alley, and it is off the wall. That'll get a run home. The throw comes in from Petrick into second with a double of Gibson. 3-1 Salt Lake. A double for Gibson. And the Stingers get an insurance run here in the 8th. Tom Gregorio, 1 for 3, steps in. Single fly to center, grounded into a double play. That's the 10th hit for Salt Lake. Gary Johnson scores all the way from first. Bynum ready, check Gibson, and the pitch. Fastball down and in. Ball 1 to Gregorio. To repeat, Washington, Kinsale, and Fermaniac, 7, 8, 9, due up for the Beavers in the 9th. Now they trail by 2, and Salt Lake looking for another. In fact, 3 runs on 11 hits now for Salt Lake. 1 run, 8 hits for the Beavs. Bynum checks Gibson, and the 1-0 pitch, and Gregorio takes a slider in there. 1-1. Gibson hit that first pitch fastball to the gap in right center. And I think Bynum wanted to have it back. Bynum looks back, and the 1-1 pitch, slider away, 2-1. Gregorio, 54 games last year as the number 2 catcher here, 221 with 5 home runs. Has 1 home run so far this year. Gibson leads at second. Bynum ready, checks Gibson, and the 2-1 pitch swung on, and a fly ball towards center. Kinsale hustles to his left, the ball slicing away from him. He's got it, and the side retired. But a key 2-out double by Derek Gibson drives home Gary Johnson all the way from first. We go to the 9th, 3-1 Salt Lake. Well, it has been a day of frustration for the Beavers here in the final game of the series in Salt Lake City. Portland trails 3-1 going to the ninth inning. Beavers have left 8 men on base. They've been retired in order only once. That was by Scott Dunn in the 8th inning. He goes out to the hill for a second inning of work right now. Portland's hit into 3 double plays. 6 of the runners they've left on base have been on either second or third. They had the bases loaded, nobody out in the third. And Yamid Hod lined into a double play. And then Joe Gerber grounded out. Nobody scored. They hit the ball on the button 4 times in the first. Had 3 hits. Nobody scored. They had Petrick at third with 1 out in the 6th and didn't get him home. Salt Lake added a run in the bottom of the 8th to move ahead by 2. So here's Rico Washington. He is 1 for 3 with an RBI double. Pitch from Dunn, and Rico takes a fastball in there, 0-1. Scoreboard looks like binary code, all 1s and 0s. Single runs in the 1st, 3rd, and 8th for Salt Lake. 1 run in the 4th for the Beavs, and that's it. The 0-1 pitch to Rico, swung on and fouled off. 0-2. Because this game has gone quickly, most of the kids that were here at the beginning are still here. They have to be back in their classrooms by the end of the day. It's 5-1 local time. Rico takes high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gene Kingsale on deck, and then J.J. Fermaniak. If Craig Colbert wanted to use a pinch hitter, he has Alex Fernandez or Henry Stanley who could come up from the left side. The 1-2 pitch, and it's grounded out towards short. Amezaga bobbles it, drops it, and Rico's aboard on an error to start the 9th. The normally sure-handed Alfredo Amezaga kicks a ground ball. First error of the game for either team. Gene Kingsale being called back, and here comes Fernandez. So Colbert going to go to one of those 2 pinch hitters right here. Kingsale 0 for 2 today, just 5 for 30 on the year. And here's Fernandez. Fernandez was 0 for 4 yesterday. 1 for 5 on Sunday. But was 2 for 4 on Saturday with a double and a home run. Dunn struck him out on Saturday. Got him to chase a high fastball. So Fernandez with 2 home runs up there representing the tying run here in the 9th. The pitch to Alex, and he swings and drives one over second. It'll fall for a base hit. Rico stops at second. Gibson bobbles it. Rico's going to continue to third. Fernandez will dig for second. The throw to second base and the tag, and it goes through, and Fernandez is in there. Tying runs in scoring position on an error on Derek Gibson. He dropped the ball. Rico thought, should I go to third? Should I stay here? I'll go to third. Fernandez had hesitated. Then he thought he'd go to second. And a good throw would have gotten him. But the throw skipped through Amezaga, and Fernandez was there. Runners at second and third, nobody out. Yet another chance for the Beavers. And here comes the shortstop, J.J. Fermaniak. Infield back, tying runs in scoring position with nobody out. 2 errors in the inning for Salt Lake. 1 to allow Washington to reach base. Then a loop hit for the pinch hitter. Alex Fernandez in the air on Gibson allows him to go down to second and allows Rico to take third. No reason for Gibson to be charging that ball so hard. Manager Mike Brumley coming out to the hill. He's got Steve Andrade out of the bullpen. Second and third, nobody out. Yet another chance for the Beavs. Brumley climbs the summit. He's going to take the ball from Dunn, pat him on the shoulder, and Andrade will be coming in. Pitching change here in Salt Lake City. Second and third, nobody out. J.J. Fermaniak at the plate for the Beavs, and Steve Andrade comes in to pitch. 3-1 Salt Lake. High runs on base for Portland. We'll be back in just a moment. Andrade comes out of the Salt Lake pen here in the 9th inning with runners at second and third and nobody out for the Beavs. 3-1 Salt Lake. Andrade has 3 saves. No record, 2.45 ERA. This will be his 7th game. 7 in the 3rd innings coming in. 3 hits and 2 runs. Andrade worked here on Sunday. Worked 1 inning, gave up 2 hits and 2 runs. Maniac singled against him. So here is JJ with runners at second and third. And nobody out. Tying runs in scoring position. Andrade's pitch is taken high by Maniac. Ball 1. Professional golfer with the same last name pronounces it Andrade. Billy Andrade. This guy is Steve Andrade. Andrade. Maniac climbs back in. And the 1-0 to JJ. And he swings and comes up empty at a breaking ball. 1-1. Andrade, not a power pitcher by any means. He throws a change off his change, and a change off his change off his change. Like one-time big leaguer Ross Grimsley. Second and third, nobody out. And the 1-1 pitch is taken down and in. 2-1 to Maniac. Beavers had 3 hits in the first inning. Runners at second and third with 2 down after a double play. And Gerber smoked a line drive to right that was caught. That came up empty there. Maniac waits. And the 2-1 pitch to JJ, and he swings at a slider, doesn't get it. 2-2. Beavers had the bases loaded, nobody out in the third. They didn't score. Runner at second, a run already home. In the fourth, nobody out. They didn't get the second run home. Runner at third, 1 down in the 6th. They didn't get him home. Here in the 9th, second and third, nobody out. Maniac waits. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tying runs in scoring position. Andrade's pitch, fastball high and tight, ball 3. In 7 in the 3rd innings, Andrade has struck out 11 and walked just 3. Full count. Washington at third and Fernandez at second. Andrade ready, and the 3-2 pitch is swung on, and a fly ball towards center field. Rico will tag. It'll be deep enough to get him home. Fernandez tags at second, but it catches Wesson. Rico will come home to score, and Fernandez holds second. Sac fly for J.J. Maniac. Because of the insurance run in the bottom of the 8th inning, this game is not tied. 3-2 Salt Lake. Here's Bernie Castro. Beavers have been this close. Take your thumb and your forefinger and hold them about a millimeter apart. They've been that close all afternoon. They have yet to push through. Maniac's 3rd run batted in the series. Fernandez at second with 1 down now. The corners are in. Castro loves to bunt. Fernandez leads at second. A look back by Andrade. Another backward glance at Alex, and the pitch to Bernie, and he swings and pops it up. Shallow left. Coming in on the ball is Johnson. Still coming. He's got a play, and he makes the catch. Fernandez back to second, and the Beavs are down to their last out. Earlier, it was Alfredo Amezaga's fly ball to the same spot. It wasn't high enough to catch. Here, Castro's was just a shade too high, and the Beavos are down to their last out. Here's the DH, Bobby Scales. Down to their last chance. Can they finally break through and tie this game? Fernandez at second with 2 down. They had second and third and nobody out. Then they've gotten 1 home. Now runner at second, 2 down. And the pitch. And Scales takes low, ball 1. Andrade looking for his 4th save of the year in 7 appearances. Fernandez at second base, runs well, carries the tying run in his hip pocket with 2 down here in the 9th. 3-2 Salt Lake. Andrade to Scales, and Bobby has a half swing and a look down at second. No swing, says Armendariz. 2 balls and no strikes. On deck, John Knott. Scales has grounded into a double play, singled, and twice he's walked. Left field straight away on Bobby. Doesn't have a home run yet this year. The 2-0 pitch, and he takes a strike on the outside corner. 2-1. Salt Lake and out away from a series split after the Beavers had won the first two. Andrade pinwheeling his arm around his right shoulder as if his shoulder's bothering him, and he shakes his right arm out. Then now bends down, looks into home plate. 2-1 the count to Scales. Bobby waits. And the pitch from Andrade is taken down and in. 3-1. You know he doesn't want to face Knott. One thing, if he faced him, the go-ahead run would be on base. 3-1 to Scales. Bobby can shrink his strike zone and look for his pitch right here. Fernandez at second with 2 down. That all-elusive tying run is still out there, as it seems to have been all afternoon. The 3-1 pitch to Scales, and he swings and lines it up the middle, base hit. Here comes Fernandez around third. He will score, and guess what? The game is tied. A base hit by Bobby Scales. After all of that.
Now batting is the left fielder, number 38, John Knott.
Clutch hit by Bobby Scales. Here's John Knott, 2 for 4 today. They had 8 for 17 in the series with 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Both hits today singles to left. Knott doubled off Andrade in the 9th inning 2 days ago. Off-speed pitch inside, ball 1. The 2-bagger here could get the go-ahead run home. We are tied at 3 in the top of the 9th. Big John Knott. He waits for a look at first, and the pitch from Andrade swung on and missed at a breaking ball, 1-1. Scales has stolen 1 base this year. It was today. Then with Andrade, a thumber, a junk ball pitcher. Let's see if he tries to make a break for it, if he just simply leaves it up to Knott. Big John waits, and the 1-1 pitch off speed inside, 2-1. 3-3 tie, top of the 9th. Scales at first now with 2 down. Portland finally capitalizes on an opportunity. Scales leads. He is going. The 2-1 pitch swung on and missed. Gregorio's throw not in time. It was offline. Scales didn't get a good jump because he stumbled. His foot slipped on him as he made the break for second, but he still beat the throw from Gregorio. 2-2 now to Knott, and the go-ahead run in scoring position. Knott leads the club with 14 runs batted in. 2 for 4 this afternoon. Andrade has him by the neck. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Scales leads at second. Steve's 2-2 pitch outside, ball 3. On deck, Yamid Hod. When Salt Lake comes up in the bottom of the 9th, Brian Speck, Barry Wesson, Alfredo Amezaga, and Bart Miatic is throwing in the Beaver bullpen. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Scales at second. Beavers looking for a hit for the lead. Andrade ready. A look back. And the 3-2 pitch swung on and missed. Got him on a slider. And down goes Knott. But the Beavers get 2 runs. 2 big errors on Salt Lake. There were 2 hits, and Portland leaves a runner at second. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. A 3-3 tie. Bottom of the ninth inning, it's a 3-3 tie. Mike Bynum has stayed in to pitch after giving up 2 hits and a run in the 8th. And he will face Brian Speck, Barry Wesson, Alfredo Amezaga. Bynum left in because the switch hitters Speck and Amezaga due up. They turned them around to bat right-handed. If Riggs, the number 3 hitter, comes up, due up 4th in the inning, I'm relatively certain the Beavers would go to Miatic. There's a line drive, base hit to left field by Speck. Back over to get it is not. Speck around first. A big turn. Not fires it in for Maniac, and a leadoff single on the first pitch by Bynum here in the 9th. Miatic had sat down. He gets up again down in the bullpen, though not throwing as of yet. Barry Wesson comes up, and let's see if he's up there to bunt. He has 3 times this year, this game, chopped out to third. And also, with that jam shot looper that scooted by Castro on the right side and went for an infield double. Bynum ready. A look at Speck at first base, and the pitch, and Wesson squares and gets the bunt down. Rico picks it up and throws to first base to Castro, covering in time. The winning run at second with 1 down. Here comes Alfredo Amezaga with a chance to win the game. If we have a 10th inning, the Beavers would send up Hod, Gerber, and Petrick. But right now, that's very much in doubt. Amezaga 1 for 4 today. His loop double, batting left-handed down the left field line. A big key in this game. He scored a run in that 3rd inning. Here he is turning around to bat right-handed. Amezaga 6 for 24. And with first base open, they're going to intentionally put him aboard. And that'll bring up Adam Riggs. And it'll also set up a double play. The first offering from Bynum almost went back to the screen. Odd had to leap to catch it. There's ball 2. So this sets up a double play, but it brings up a great clutch hitter in Adam Riggs. Miatic not throwing out in the bullpen. Maybe he's thrown enough to be ready to go. There's ball 3. Or perhaps they're going to stick with Bynum, although that would be a surprise. So here's Adam Riggs. Bynum, a left-hander with a great backdoor breaking ball, and they're going to stick with him. Well, Amezaga intentionally walked. His run means nothing. He just sets up a double play. 3-3 tie, bottom of the 9th. Winning run at second with 1 down. Speck takes his lead at second. Amezaga from first. Riggs waits. Bynum looks back, and his pitch, breaking ball in there in the back door. 0-1. Rob Quinlan on deck. So they elect to stay with Bynum. Three tie, bottom of the 9th. Winning run at second for Salt Lake. Speck takes his lead. Castro bird dogs the pitch to Riggs. Breaking ball gets away from Hod, but not far enough for the runners to advance. Down and away, ball 1. Back-to-back sliders from Bynum. On deck, Rob Quinlan. Left-hander Yoshi Mizuo is working out in the Salt Lake pen. He may be on to work if we go to the 10th. 3-3 tie. Bynum peers in to Hod. Speck and Amezaga take their leads, and the 1-1 pitch to Riggs. He swings into fly ball toward left field. Heading back on, the ball is not. Shy of the warning track, he's there. He's got it 2 down. Tagging and going to third is Speck. Here he comes. No relay. He's in there. That ball all the way out, about 10 feet shy of the track. And now the winning run is 90 feet away with 2 down. And here comes Rob Quinlan. Howard asks for time, and he'll go out to the mound to talk things over with Bynum. And again, no one throwing back of Mike out in the bullpen. It's up to him here against Rob Quinlan. Quinlan has singled to right to drive home a run. He's walked. Pitching coach Tom Brown will go out to the hill. Now there's a left-hand hitting Gary Johnson on deck. And the question you have is, do they intentionally walk Quinlan even without first base open and face the left-hand hitter? That would force Bynum to throw strikes with the bases loaded. That's not an approach I like. They've already intentionally walked Mezga in the inning to set up the double play. Riggs flied out to left. And let's see what Hod does. He puts on his mask. And they will intentionally walk Quinlan to load the bases. Mezga going down to second. And Hod cocked the gun as if to throw. And for Maniac late getting over there. Not going to matter anyway, really, because they're intentionally passing Quinlan. And there is ball two. Second intentional walk of the inning. And they'll face Gary Johnson. Johnson singled off Bynum in the last inning. There's ball three. There'll be a lot of pressure on Yamid Hod now. And there is ball four. And a lot of pressure on Mike Bynum to throw strikes. Second intentional walk issued in the inning. Bynum this year coming in 11 2/3 innings. 5 walks and 10 strikeouts. Here's Gary Johnson, who singled off Bynum on a 3-2 pitch in the 8th. Not sure whether or not they give Mezga a stolen base on that. They will rule the catcher's indifference. Bases loaded, 2 down, bottom of the 9th, 3-3 tie. Lefty against lefty. They elect to walk Quinlan and load him up and force Bynum to throw strikes to the left-hand hitter. Feel like with Bynum's outstanding slider, they got an advantage against the left-hand hitter. Johnson waits. Bynum ready. He fires a slider taken inside. Ball 1. Johnson, 5 hits and 14 at-bats this year against left-hand pitching, including 1-for-1 today against Bynum. Specht at third. He's the winning run with 2 down. The 1-0 pitch from Bynum, and it's swung on a ground ball towards second. Castro has it. He throws to first. We go to the 10th. Bynum works out of the jam. They intentionally walk 2 runners, the second one to load the bases, and Bynum induces the left-hand hitting Gary Johnson to ground out to end the inning. We go to the 10th. It's a 3-3 tie. Game here today in Salt Lake City, finale of the series, and much of the crowd is either leaving or on their way out. It is 1:20 here local time, and 11,721 the attendance today, and I'd say more than 95% of them school-age kids, and the staff members who are now on their way back to their classroom. Yamid Hod will lead off the 10th inning for Portland after the Beavers worked out of a dangerous jam in the bottom of the 9th inning. Gary Johnson grounded out to second to leave the bases loaded. Here's Hod. Doubled, lined out to third, lined out to center, flied out to left. Yoshi Mizuo is the new pitcher, second appearance of the series, and Hod lines one toward third. Speared by a diving thrower. For the second time in the game, he takes extra bases away from Hod. Backhand diving catch of a line drive by Jake Thrower. One pitch, one up, one down. We would have put the winning run in scoring position with nobody out. Here's Joe Gerber. 0 for 4 today. Has hit the ball hard twice. Big league play by Jake Thrower. It was Jake catcher on that play. Breaking ball in the dirt. 0-1. Yoshitaka Mizuo out of Japan. Mizuo. Gerber pops one up and foul ground off to the left, out of play. 0-2. Line to right. Grounded to second twice and struck out. One ball, one strike, one out. Mizuo from a stretch with nobody on, and a breaking ball, a half swing by Gerber. Around he went. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On deck, Ben Petrick. Beavers have played 2 extra inning games this year. Back-to-back in Las Vegas. First series of the year. Half swing on a breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2. Portland won one game 7-6 in 10 innings, and the next day 3-2 in 11 innings. So they're 2-0 in extra inning games this year. Gerber had 1 home run with Double-A Mobile, still looking for his first as a Beav. Lefty against lefty, and Gerber takes a breaking ball, got him looking. Joe knew it, and down he goes. One of the few times this year when Gerber hasn't had a good at-bat, no matter the result. Two down for Ben Petrick. Grounded to third, walked, tripled to right, and struck out. Petrick has 1 home run this year in his first at-bat in Portland a week ago. He takes low, ball 1. Mizuo, a 35-year-old left-hander. This is his 3rd appearance with Salt Lake. Hasn't allowed any runs. Pitch taken low by Petrick, ball 2. Mizuo worked on Saturday in the series opener. 1 inning, 3 ground balls, a 1-2-3 frame. Didn't face Ben Petrick. 2-0 pitch, taken on the outside corner, 2-1. A change from Mizuo. On deck, Rico Washington. Mizuo nods yes, now straightens up. Then the 2-1 pitch swung on a chopper toward third. Thrower well back of the bag. Long throw across, in time to get it. Jake Thrower takes extra bases away from Yamid Hod, and then for the final out of the inning, makes the play about 30 feet back of the bag and throws out Petrick. And the Beavers go 1-2-3 for this the second time today. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Thrower, Gibson, and Gregorio due up for Salt Lake. It's a 3-3 tie. the 10th inning in a 3-3 tie. Blaine Neal, the fourth pitcher for the Beavers today. They'll face Jake Thrower, Derek Gibson, Tom Gregorio. Mike Bynum, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, both intentional. 1 strikeout, 1 run allowed. But he worked out of a big-time bases loaded 2-out jam in the 9th, inducing Gary Johnson to ground out to second. Now here in the bottom of the 10th, Jake Thrower, whose great defensive play helped save Yoshi Mizuo's bacon, then led to a 1-2-3 inning. He'll lead off the bottom of the 10th. Sweet backhand diving play to rob Yamid Had of extra bases, leading off the top of the 10th. Thrower leads off the bottom of the 10th. The pitch from Neal, and Thrower fouls it off. 0-1. The long-time question in baseball is, how often does a guy who made the great play lead off the next inning? My answer to that is about 11% of the time. Thrower climbs back in. Neal from a stretch with nobody on, and the 0-1 pitch is taken down and in. 1-1. Neal 1-1, 2.77 ERA. This is his 10th game. He's among the league leaders in games pitched. Neal ready in the right-handers. 1-1, offering change, chop towards short for Maniac. Has it at eye level, throws across in time. 1 up, 1 down here in the last of the 10th. Here's Derek Gibson. His 2-out RBI double in the bottom of the 8th is one reason we're still here. That gave the Stingers an insurance run. They led by 2 going into the 9th, but 2 hits, 2 errors. And a key base hit with 2 down by Bobby Scales drove home the tying run. And now Gibby comes up here in the bottom of the 10th inning. The pitch on the way to Gibson. He swings an off-speed pitch and doesn't get it. 0-1. Danger if you throw a fastball for a strike to Gibson. But he is very susceptible to off-speed pitches, and that's what has kept him from a big league career. Otherwise, he is an outstanding talent. Gibson waits. Neal ready. And the 0-1 pitch is taken outside. 1-1. Gibson's error in right is another reason we're still here. That came in the top of the 9th inning. That allowed Rico Washington to go to third. Alex Fernandez to go to second after a loop single. Rico could score on a fly ball. The 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball chopped toward third. Rico has it. Straightens up. Fires it across on the money. And there 2 down. 3 straight sliders from Neal to Gibson. And there are 2 away. Salt Lake has gone in order just once. That was in the 5th. Here's Tom Gregorio. Singled, fly to center, grounded into a double play, fly to center again. 2 unearned runs because of 2 Salt Lake errors in the 9th. And we're tied at 3 here in the bottom of the 10th. Been a great game filled with strategy and intrigue and missed opportunities. Fastball outside, ball 1 to Gregorio. Beavers had the bases loaded, nobody out in the 3rd. And they had been peppering the ball off Delvin James with nothing to show for it in the first 3 innings. And after 3 straight singles to start the frame, Yamid Had smoked one to Thrower for a double play. Fastball waved out a miss by Gregorio. He was going for the win with 1 swing. Looking for Main Street. 1-1. Gregorio has 1 home run this year, 5 in 54 games last year. Tom waits. Neal comes set. Big Blaine ready, and he deals, and it's a fastball on the outside corner. 1-2. If we have an 11th inning, the Beavers would have Rico Washington, Alex Fernandez, and J.J. Fermaniak. After getting the pinch hit and scoring the tying run in the 9th inning, Fernandez stayed in to play center. Neal ready, and the 1-2 pitch. Slider swung on, and a fly ball hit down the left field line. Deep enough, I think, but foul. Arroyo's out on his front foot, pulled the breaking ball foul. Still 1-2. Washington guarding the line at third, trying to keep Gregorio out of scoring position. Gerber playing a little bit off the line with a right-hand hitter at the plate over at first. Fernandez and Sutter shading Gregorio to the opposite field. The 1-2 pitch swung on, pulled foul by Mike Brumley. And down the line, Brumley, the Stinger skipper, had that ball missing by a couple of feet, and he didn't even move. Ho-hum, just another day at the ballpark. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on base. Bottom of the 10th, 3-3 tie. Neal ready and fires, swung on and foul back. Still 1-2 to Gregorio. Neal again, 1-1, 2.77. 13 innings coming in, 12 hits, 4 walks, and 13 strikeouts. Worked 2 shutout innings here Sunday in the Beavers' 8-4 win. Here he is in the 10th, and the 1-2 pitch to Gregorio. Swung on and missed. Got him on a slider, and down go the Stingers. 1-2-3 here in the 10th. Just the second time today they've gone in order. We go to the 11th. It's a 3-3 tie. Top of the 11th inning, we're tied at 3, and Yoshi Mizuo out for his second inning of work. He'll face Rico Washington, Alex Fernandez, J.J. Fermaniak. Mizuo a left-hander, and he'll face 2 left-hand hitters to start it off. So here comes Rico. RBI double in the 4th, and reached on an error on Alfredo Amezaga. The normally sure-handed one kicked the ball to start the 9th, and that was the first of 2 key errors in the frame. So here's Rico. Homered here on Sunday. Shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes ball 1 from Yoshi Mizuo. Yoshitaka Mizuo pitched just 3 games in the big league level last year in Japan because of a strained neck. Pitched more in the minor leagues. The 35-year-old southpaw's pitch is chopped toward first, a foul ball. 1-1. Angels signed him as a free agent late in spring training because they needed a left-handed reliever. And he's pitching here at the AAA level for him. 73 degrees right here now in Salt Lake City. Mizuo ready, and the 1-1 to Rico, down and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Beautiful Wasatch Mountains in the distance. Salt Lake, the home of the 2002 Winter Olympics. The 2-1 pitch is taken down and away, ball 3. Two and 2/3 innings coming in. Mizuo has walked 4, all 4 in his first appearance. And that was in Sacramento. Mizzou's 3-1 pitch swung on and pulled foul by Rico by first base coach Matt Bruback. And the guy with the long-handled net is here again today. And then he snared that fish and pulled it into the boat. Full count to Rico. Three and two. Rico leading off the top of the 11th. 3-3 time. Mizzou ready and fires, and Washington takes one in the dirt. Ball 4. Leadoff man on for the Beavs here in the 11th. Here comes another left-hand hitter, Alex Fernandez, who looped a single in that 9th inning. And Derek Gibson kicked it around a bit out there, and that allowed runners to go second and third. Even after Gibson had bobbled the ball, Fernandez, who had hesitated before breaking to second, would have been thrown out if Gibson made a good throw. Let's see if they have Fernandez up there to bunt. Dewey Colbert hates bunting, but this might be a situation that calls for it. Fernandez squares, pulls it back, and takes low, ball 1. A leadoff walk here in the 11th. Thrower in on the grass at third. Quinlan holds a corner on Rico at first. Rico hasn't attempted a steal this year. Mizzou ready, a check of first base, and the 1-0 pitch. Fernandez squares and bunts it foul into the glove of Gregorio. 1-1. Colbert going through the signs again. Fernandez didn't look comfortable bunting. And let's see if he takes it off here. Big open hole on the right side. Left-hand hitter at the plate. Lefty against lefty. Fernandez hits left-handers well. He squares, pulls it back in the dirt. Nice smothering stop by Tom Gregorio. 2 balls and 1 strike. Like a hockey goalie, kept the ball in front of him and then covered up the rebound. Rico leads at first base. Mizzou comes set. 2-1 to Fernandez. He is not bunting, and he swings and chops one toward the right side. Going to get the job done. Fielded by the first baseman, Quinlan, and he flips to Mizzou covering in time. Nice play by Quinlan moving to his right, and he flipped it back to Mizzou, and Yoshi had to catch the ball and find the bag at the same time. So it works like a sacrifice. Only difference is Fernandez will be charged with an at-bat. Nice play there by Rob Quinlan and Yoshi Mizzou. Here's J.J. Fermaniak with a chance to get the go-ahead run home. Had a sac fly in the 9th inning to drive one home. Fermaniak 0 for 3 today. Mizzou ready, a look back at Rico and the pitch, and Fermaniak takes a strike. Gary Johnson in left, Barry Wesson in center, Derek Gibson in right, Rob Quinlan at first. At second is Brian Speck, the shortstop Alfredo Amezaga, Jake Thrower at third. Mizzou's pitch, and it's taken low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Beavers struggled so mightily to get the tying run home. Finally, in the top of the 9th inning, after so many opportunities, Bobby Scales' base hit sent the tying run plate with the 1-1 pitch, swung on a ground ball toward the left side. Thrower to his left to pick it up, turns and throws across in time. On the play of the go-ahead run, Rico Washington over to third base. 2 down now. And here comes the dangerous Bernie Castro. Washington at third. And Castro will be batting right-handed with the southpaw Mizzou on the hill. First time today, Bernie batting right-handed. Castro 2 for 8 as a right-hand hitter this year. Go-ahead run at third. Bernie swings and lines one over short, base hit. Rico jogs home, and the Beavers, for the first time today, have a lead. For Castro, his 5th run batted in this year. Portland leads at 4-3 here in the 11th.
Number 10, Bobby Scales.
And that'll bring up the hero from the 9th inning, Bobby Scales. If he didn't single up the middle, we're already out of the ballpark. The leadoff walk, a big key. Now Castro leads at first. Let's see if he makes a break Mizzou's throw over there, and Bernie gets back to the bag. Castro has stolen 5 in 6 attempts. Hasn't attempted a steal yet today. Mizzou ready. A check of Castro. Scales waits. The pitch to Bobby is low, ball one. When Salt Lake comes up in the 11th, Specht, Wesson, and Amezaga do up. Remember, they have Alex Pelaez and his potent bat on the bench. The 1-0 pitch swung on, line drive down the left field line. That'll be toward the corner. It will be up in the corner. A base hit. Extra bases around third bases. Castro. Colbert waves him home. Here he comes. Here's the relay from Amezaga. It goes through and hits the bat out in front of the plate, and the run is home. And to third base goes Scales. It will be a double and RBI, and Bobby Scales 2 good hits on 1 play. He hit the ball into the corner, and his bat was left out in front of home plate, 5 feet out on the grass, and the throw came through, and had it not hit the bat, Castro might have been out. So with all the luck going Salt Lake's way today through the first 8.5 innings, finally in the top of the ninth, the Beavers break through. They now lead 5-3. Runner at third with 2 down. Here's John Knott, and he swings and fouls one back, 0-1. Finally, the universe makes good for the Beavs. The throw from Amezaga might have had Castro nailed, but it hit Bobby Scales' bat out in front of home plate. It was about 15 feet away from the plate. Skidded away. That allowed Scales to go to third and Castro to score. He might have scored anyway, or he might have been tagged out. Gregorio set up to block the plate. And Knott takes ball one. 5-3 Portland here in the 11th. The 1-1 pitch swung on a line drive into left field. Base hit. 3 runs home. Scales scores easily. RBI single for John Knott. 6-3 Portland, and the pitching coach Rich Bombard out to talk things over with the shaken Yoshi Mizuo. Out in the bullpen, Bart Miatic is warming up. 6-3 Beavers here in the 11th. What a great game. Man, at this point, especially if you're a Beaver fan. Salt Lake has been a great late inning team this year. They have won 4 games this year in their last at bat at home in the bottom of the 9th. They had a chance in the bottom of the 9th today. After an intentional walk to Rob Quinlan to load the bases, Mike Bynum forced to throw strikes, threw one to Gary Johnson, who grounded out to second. Here's Yamid Hod, and he takes low from Mizuo, ball one. Thirteen hits now for the Beavs. Knott at first, and the pitch to Hod is chopped foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yamid trying to hit it anywhere but toward Jake Thrower. Hod got one by Jake way back in the first inning for a double. Then he lined into a double play with the bases loaded, nobody out in the third, right at Thrower. And then in the 10th inning, Hod smoked one that was ticketed for the left field corner, but Thrower made a great backhand diving snare of his line drive. Pitch to Yamid, and he swings and drives one towards center field. Starting in, going back is Wesson. He's got a play. He reels it in. The side retired. But the damage is done. Runner at third and 2 down. They got a base hit by Castro to drive home Washington. A double by Scales to drive home Castro as the relay throw came in and hit the bat out in front of home plate. And then the RBI single by Knott for the 3rd run of the inning. To the bottom of the 11th we go. Here comes Bart Miatic. 6-3 Portland.
Do you do requests? Would you sing a love song to My Bottle of Mountain Dew?
No.
It would mean a lot.
Bottom of the 11th inning, the Beavers with a 3-run inning lead 6-3. And now former Salt Lake closer Bart Miatic comes on against his former club with a chance to pick up the save. And for Miatic, he has 3 saves coming into the game to go along with a 1-1 record. Miatic entered the bottom of the 9th inning in a game in Tucson a couple of weeks ago with a 6-3 lead, and ended up giving up a game-winning grand slam to Chad Tracy. Other than that, Bart has been excellent. Worked 1 inning yesterday, 2 hits and a run. Just getting some work yesterday, and here trying to pick up a save. Cutter in there to Brian Specht, 0-1. Specht is 3 for 4 today. Struck out and 3 singles. Switcher to batting left-handed, and the 0-1 pitch to Brian. He swings and comes up empty on a change, 0-2. The all-time saves leader for the Salt Lake Stingers, trying to save one against them here in Salt Lake City. Bart Miatic, the stocky right-hander's 0-2 pitch, changeup swung on, popped up. Yamid Hod takes the mask off, comes back near the screen. He's got sunglasses on, back into about the 5th row, and hops up into the second deck. And some of the remaining kids here give chase. We had 11,721 here. And most of them school-age kids who, about a half hour, 40 minutes ago, had to head back to their classroom. Still 0-2 to Specht. Miatic looks in. Big boy ready, and his 0-2 pitch. Changeup swung on, fly ball towards center. Heading back on the ball is Fernandez. He's there. He's got it. And the Stings are down to their last 2 outs. This, if they can do it, is a great win for the Beavs. And after struggling so hard all afternoon to get it going with runners in scoring position, after missing so many opportunities, they finally broke through and tied the game in the 9th. As Salt Lake committed 2 errors. First 2 errors of the ball game, and the only 2 to this point. Fastball high and tight to Barry Wesson, ball 1. 6-3 Beavers, 1 out, nobody on, bottom of the 11th. Miatic into his windup, and the 1-0 pitch in there. 1-1. Former teammates Bart Miatic and Barry Wesson. Alfredo Amezaga on deck, and the 1-1 pitch swung on and missed. Cut fastball, 1-2. Miatic pitched for parts of 4 seasons at the AAA level for the Angels, 3 of them here in Salt Lake. After 1 year when the Anaheim Angels had their AAA affiliate in Edmonton, 1-2 fastball away, just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last year, Miatic appeared in 46 games for Salt Lake, 5-5 with 16 saves. The 2-2 pitch is taken just outside full count. And Miatic is a lot like another Oregonian from his neck of the woods, Miatic from Lake Oswego, Mitch Wild Thing Williams from West Lynn. And that Miatic isn't typically a 1-2-3 closer. The 3-2 pitch down and away, ball 4. He usually makes things interesting. Now, Friday night, in his last save, he didn't have much leeway to make things interesting as The Beavers led 1-0 going into the bottom of the ninth. In fact, the top of the ninth, and Mijatovic worked a 1-2-3 inning, striking out Luis Torrero and Steve Neal to end it. Here, a one-out walk, and that brings up a Meziga. 1 for 4 today. The operator waits Mijatovic's pitch, a fastball away, ball 1. Mijatovic had Wesson in a 1-2 hole, but then walked him. Now 4 straight outside the zone for Bart. Big Bart heaves aside. Ready a look at first. And Wesson going to second. The 1-0 pitch is taken low, and down to second base is Berry. Like a Meziga in the ninth inning. Not sure if they're going to give him a stolen base. Beavers weren't paying much attention to Wesson. That takes the force play, or the double play, out of order. Other than that, Wesson's run in and of itself didn't mean anything. The 2-0 from Mijatovic, Meziga takes outside ball 3. And if he walks him, Adam Riggs would come up representing the tying run. Mijatovic very familiar with his ballpark, just unfamiliar with the visiting dugout, visiting bullpen, and visiting clubhouse. The 3-0 pitch, and it's taken in there at the knees, 3-1. Do not want to face Riggs representing the tying run. 1 out, bottom of the 11th, 6-3 Portland. Mijatovic ready, and the 3-1 pitch is taken in there on the inside corner at the knees, a full count. Salt Lake has been an outstanding late-inning team this year. 4 last at-bat wins here in their home ballpark. They trail by 3 here in the bottom of the 11th. The 3-2 from Mijatovic to a Meziga, swung on, ground ball hard toward third. Rico picks it up, looks Wesson back, throws him out. And Mijatovic battles back from 3-0. Now the Stingers down to their last out. Here comes Riggs with Quinlan on deck.
Adam Riggs.
Riggs is 1 for 5, his lone hit, a bad hop double. And then there's Yamid Hod. Hod is 1 for 6 today and has hit the ball hard 5 times. I mean, he has absolutely scorched it. A couple of times right at people, and once that great diving catch by Jake Thrower. However, Yamid's team has the lead, so he'll take it. The pitch to Riggs, a fastball high, ball 1. The Beavers an out away from getting their first series win. An out away from climbing back to within 3 games of first place in the North. And an out away from an inspired victory here in Salt Lake City today in the finale of the series. The 1-0 pitch. Slider away, 2-0 to Riggs. Rob Quinlan lurks on deck. Another guy you don't want to face representing the tying run. Mijatovic looking for his 4th save. Big Bard is ready. Wesson going to third. The 2-0 a strike. Hodge throw down. He throws it on a couple of bounces because no one was covering. And Yamid realized it just as his arm went into its motion. And Wesson over to third base. Again, I think on indifference. And Yamid, rather than trying to hang on to the ball, just kind of rolled it up along third where Washington fielded it. 2-1 the count to Riggs. Salt Lake down to their last out. Runner at third, bottom of the 11th, 6-3 Portland. Mijatovic ready. The pitch to Riggs. Swung on and missed. Cut fastball and the count 2-2. They want to leave Quinlan standing in the on-deck circle. They don't want to see him. 6 runs on 13 hits for Portland. 3 runs, 12 hits, 2 big errors for Salt Lake. Riggs waits. Mijatovic peers into Hod. Salt Lake down to its last strike. Mijatovic ready. Bart's 2-2 pitch outside. Full count. Bart took something off it and missed with it. Riggs a fastball hitter all the way. And Bart from the off-speed pitch away. Now the count full. Does not want to walk Riggs. I think he'd rather see him hit a 2-run home run. Mijatovic ready. And the 3-2 to Riggsy taken down and away, ball 4. And look out, here he comes, Rob Quinlan.
First baseman, number 17, Rob Quinlan.
2 walks given up by Mijatovic. He walked Wesson with 1 out. He walks Riggs with 2 out. Runners at the corners. And they paid no attention to Barry Wesson. at either first or second base, and he went down to second and third. And let's see if they pay much attention to Riggs. Here comes Quinlan. He has 2 home runs this year, came in hitting .338. He's 1 for 3. Riggs going down to second. Quinlan fouls one off. 0-1. They sent Riggs. As Gerber playing well back of him. And just in case, a right-hander getting up out of the bullpen for Salt Lake. I believe that's Matt Hensley. And it is. Quinlan up there representing the tying run, bottom of the 11th. Big guy with 32 home runs on over the last 2 years. First and third with 2 down. Fake to third, a look at first, good idea. But Riggs wasn't fooled by it, and no one was covering at first base anyway. Stings were down to their last strike, but Riggs drew a walk. And now they have to contend with Quinlan. Miadic ready. Pitch to his longtime teammate. Riggs goes. It's a slider down and away. Ball 1. They pay no attention to Riggs. Quinlan's run is the run that matters. He's at the plate. He singled to right, walked, grounded to second, fouled out to first, and intentionally walked in the 9th. Quinlan waits. Miadic ready. And now Bart steps off as Quinlan backs out. Second and third, 2 down. We're in the bottom of the 11th. Beavers with 3 in the top of the inning. What a great game here in Salt Lake City today. One of the best, if not the best of the year. And the Beavers are an out away from winning it. The 1-1 pitch, and it swung on and missed on an off-speed pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Miadic with Salt Lake the last 3 years. Quinlan has been here for 2 years prior to this year. Teammates for 2 seasons. Miadic ready. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball just missed outside. 2-2. Quinlan, I'm sure, heaving a sigh of relief. That ball was close. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Bottom of the 11th. It's 6-3 Portland. Miadic toes the rubber. Peers into Hod. Quinlan in his potent back waits. Out of a stretch is Miadic. And the 2-2 pitch is coming up. Fastball chopper towards short. The Maniac has it. A throw and they win. He throws it across. They got him. Miadic picks up the save. Salt Lake leaves 2. And in a great game, a very nice victory for the Portland Beavers. Beavers win it 6-3. After all that, after all their struggles, after all the luck in the early innings went Salt Lake's way, the difference in this ball game, 3 runs in the 11th inning. After the Beavers had 2 unearned runs in the 9th, Portland wins it by the final score of 6-3. The Beavers are now 9-11 through their first 20 games of the year, and Salt Lake now 12-8. Portland 3 games back in the North Division of the PCL. Edmonton will play at home against Tacoma later today, and if Edmonton wins it, they can move back into a first-place tie with Salt Lake. Beavers have tomorrow off, and then they'll be in Edmonton on Thursday night for the first of a 4-game series. Thursday and Friday nights, and then Saturday and Sunday afternoons. Thursday and Friday we'll be with you at 5:35. Saturday and Sunday, 12:05 Pacific. Then the Beavers back home on Monday for the first of an 8-game homestand against Salt Lake and Edmonton. For my studio coordinator, Edwin Lindley, this is Rich Burke inviting you to stay tuned for our Portland Beavers post-game show. Once again, the final score in 11 innings, Portland 6, Salt Lake 3.
It's time for the Portland Beavers postgame show on 1550 KKAD. Portland Beavers baseball is brought to you in part by Portland General Electric. We do this every day. By Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. By Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. And by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And now, here's the voice of the Beavers, Rich Burke.
In one sense, you could sum this game up in long fashion, and I will do that. I'll tell you all about it. In another sense, you could sum it up in one word. Phew. What a game here in Salt Lake City on this Tuesday morning into afternoon. The Beavers in 11 innings get the Stings today. Final score, Portland 6 and Salt Lake 3. What a game we had. In the very first inning, the shenanigans began. The Beavers, after a leadoff base hit, had Bobby Scales bound into a double play. Then John Knott singled, Yamid Hunt doubled, and with runners at second and third, in 2 down, Joe Gerber lined out to right, an absolute laser beam that was right at Derek Gibson, and we were still scoreless. Then in the bottom of the first inning for Salt Lake, 2 outs and nobody on base, Adam Riggs hit one that exploded in front of Joe Gerber for a bad hop double. And then he scored on Rob Quinlan's poke single into right field. It was 1-0 Salt Lake. In the top of the third for Portland on the warpath against Delvin James, they had 3 straight singles to begin the inning. Bases loaded, nobody out, and they didn't score. Yamid Hunt lined one to third, caught by a thrower, and a bit of uncharacteristic bad base running by Bernie Castro as he didn't freeze on the line drive, and he got doubled off third base. And then Gerber hit the ball fairly hard again, a one-hopper to Brian Speck, and he threw him out at first, and the inning was over, and it was still 1-0 Salt Lake. In the bottom of the third inning for the Stingers, with 1 out, Amezaga sent a pop-up down the left field line. It dropped just beyond the outstretched diving glove of J.J. Fermaniak, and he was at second with 1 down. And then after a walk with 2 down, Gary Johnson singled to drive home Amezaga. It was 2-0 Salt Lake, and it looked like everything was going the Stingers' way. Portland did get a run in the fourth inning. Leadoff walk to Petrick, and Rico Washington pulled one into the right field corner to drive Petrick home. But they had the tying run at second base with nobody out, and they couldn't advance them beyond second. As Kingsale struck out, Fermaniak flied to left, and Castro chopped out, and so it was still 2-1 Salt Lake. The Stingers, with 2 outs and nobody on in the fourth inning, had an infield single by Brian Speck, and then a jam shot double by Barry Weston to put runners at second and third. But then Joey Hamilton settled down and got Alfredo Amezaga to pop out to short. By the way, for Hamilton, good outing today. 5 innings, 7 hits, not many of them hit hard. 2 runs, both earned. Although, without that bad hop double and the loop double, probably nobody would have scored against Joey. There was 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. It seems like games ago when Hamilton pitched, it was actually in this game. So it was still 2-1 Salt Lake. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Beavers turned to double play. In the top of the 6th, the Beavers had a 1-out triple from Ben Petrick. And with the tying run at third base and the infield back and just 1 out, Rico Washington, needing a ground ball to get the tying run home, fouled out. And then Gene Kingsale flied out to left. It was still 2-1 Salt Lake. The Beavers had let another opportunity dry up. In the 7th inning for Salt Lake, Adam Riggs flied out to right. Earlier in the inning, Brian Speck had been at third base when Alfredo Amezaga hit one to Joe Gerber, and Speck ill-advisedly tried to score, and Gerber threw him out to maintain the 2-1 ball game. In the 7th inning for the Beavers, they had a 2-out walk to Bobby Scales. He stole second, but John Knott, who's been a big RBI guy for the Beavs of late, grounded out to first, so still 2-1. Beavers went 1-2-3 for the first time in the 8th inning against Scott Dunn. In the bottom of the 8th for Salt Lake against Mike Bynum, Salt Lake led it 2-1. With 1 out, Gary Johnson singled up the middle. Jake Thrower struck out, but then Derek Gibson pounded a double to right center, and that scored Johnson all the way from first, and it looked like with the way Dunn had been throwing, that would be the insurance that he would need. Salt Lake led it 3-1. Then in the ill-fated 9th inning, as far as Salt Lake is concerned, Rico Washington hit a routine ground ball to Alfredo Amezaga, and Amezaga bobbled it, and Rico was aboard to lead off the inning. Then pinch hitter Alex Fernandez came up, looped a single to right, and Derek Gibson had the ball trickle behind him, and when the dust had settled, Rico was at third base. Fernandez, who had hesitated between first and second, decided to go to second base anyway. A good throw by Gibson would have had him, but he bounced the throw. It got by Amezaga, and Fernandez was safe at second. Tying runs on base in scoring position with nobody out. Another opportunity for the Beavers. J.J. Fermaniak hit a sacrifice fly to make it 3-2 Salt Lake. Then Bernie Castro flied out to left, and the Beavers were down to their last out. After struggling all day to get the tying run home, Bobby Scales whacked a single up the middle on a 3-1 pitch, and that drove home Fernandez, and the game at last was tied, not struck out after Scales had stolen second, and the Beavers left the go-ahead run in scoring position. In the bottom of the ninth inning for Salt Lake, a leadoff base hit by Brian Specht off Mike Bynum. Then Barry Wesson sacrificed. An intentional walk to Alfredo Amezaga put runners at first and second. Adam Riggs flied out to left on the play. Specht went over to third. The winning run was at third base with 2 down in the ninth inning. And we thought they might have brought in Miocic to face Riggs and Quinlan, right-hand hitters. But the Beavers and the Padres organization want to see what Bynum can do in that key spot, even though he's left-handed facing right-handed hitters. And he did get Riggs to fly out to left. And then the intentional walk to Quinlan to load him up with 2 down, and they forced Bynum to throw strikes, and after working the count to 1-0 on Johnson, he got Johnson to ground out to second to end the inning, and they left the winning run 90 feet away, so we were tied at 3 going to the 10th. Portland went 1-2-3 on the top of the 10th. Likewise, Salt Lake in the bottom of the inning. And the top of the 11th for Portland, strange inning. Rico Washington led it off with a walk. Went to second as Alex Fernandez, who couldn't sacrifice, chopped out. But it worked the same way as Washington went down into scoring position. J.J. Fermaniak grounded at the third to send Rico to third base. So the go-ahead run was at third with 2 down. Bernie Castro came up batting right-handed for the first time on the day and stroked a single to left center field to make it 4-3 Portland. Then in the strangest play of the day, Bobby Scales pulled one into the left field corner for a double. Castro's trying to score from first base, and Gary Johnson and Alfredo Amezaga teamed on a great relay. Amezaga's one-hop throw came in, and it was targeted for Tom Gregorio, and it would have been a close play at the plate. They may have had Castro, but the throw hit the bat that had been dropped by Bobby Scales about 20 feet out in front of home plate, and it skidded away, and Castro scored, and then John Knott, 3 pitches later, singled to left to drive home Scales, and the Beavers had a 3-run 11th inning. And Yamid Hahn flied out to center to end the inning, hit that ball hard. Yamid hit the ball hard 5 times today. He was just 1 for 6, but Portland had that 3-run 11th inning. And then in the bottom of the 11th, Bart Miocic came on against his former team, and the Stingers' all-time leading saves leader with 1 out, issued a walk to Barry Wesson. With 2 outs, issued a walk to Adam Riggs. And then the dangerous Rob Quinlan at the plate. The count went to 2-2. Quinlan grounded up to short, and the Beavers finally had their win. Portland 6, Salt Lake 3. 6 runs, 13 hits, no errors. 10 men left on base for Portland. 3 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors. 13 left on base for Salt Lake. In their last 6 games, 5 of them losses. Salt Lake has left 65 men on base. The winner is Blaine Neal. He's 2-1. To save Bart Miocic is 4th. The loser, Yoshi Mizuo, he's 0-1. 11,721 here in Salt Lake City. And most of them school-age kids had a great time, although many of them had to leave at the end of regulation. 3 hours and 25 minutes. There were no home runs in the ball game for either team, and Portland has issued just 6 home runs this year, and that is the fewest in the PCL. Salt Lake didn't hit a home run in the entire series. And the Beavers now 9-11 on the year. They have now won 6 of their last 9. Salt Lake 12-8 on the year. They have dropped 6 of their last 7, and Portland 3 games back of Salt Lake in the north. We'll take a timeout and come back and take a look at the Bud Light Major League scoreboard, all the action taking place later on. We'll tell you about it after this on Advice Radio 1550 KKAD. Back here on our post-game show in Salt Lake City, the Beavers win a great game, 6-3 in 11 innings. Portland now 3-0 in extra innings this year. All the action in the big leagues later today. Houston will be at Pittsburgh. It'll be Cincinnati at Milwaukee. Cincinnati now in a first-place tie with Chicago in the National League Central. Philadelphia at St. Louis. Florida at Colorado. The Cubs will be at Arizona. Montreal at San Diego. And the Padres got a bottom-of-the-ninth inning win yesterday as Miguel Ojeda drove home Jay Payton. The Mets at Los Angeles. Atlanta at San Francisco. Former Beaver Jarrett Wright will start for the Braves in that one. In the American League, Seattle will be at Baltimore. Jamie Moyer against Kurt Ainsworth. Both pitchers have struggled so far this year. Tampa Bay will be at Boston. Paul Abbott against Tim Wakefield. Anaheim at Detroit. It'll be Oakland at the Yankees. Tim Hudson will go for Oakland. Mike Messina will go for the Yankees, and he is just 1-4, ERA 6.67 so far this year. Cleveland will be at the White Sox. Texas at Kansas City. Toronto at Minnesota. All the action in the big leagues under the lights tonight across the country. Beavers win it here in Salt Lake City 6-3. We'll be back with a look at our Pepsi PCL scoreboard, and we'll close it down after this on Advice Radio 1550 KKAD. Well, the Beavers really show some mettle this afternoon. They come back from a 2-0 deficit, and after struggling through the first 8 innings to drive home runs with runners in scoring position, they finally break through with 2 unearned runs in the ninth. They win it by the final score of 6-3. Bobby Scales, the key blow in the 9th inning to tie the game. And in the 11th inning, after a leadoff walk, the key blow, Bernie Castro's base hit that broke the tie. Portland goes on to win it 6-3. Again, Blaine Neal, the winner, 2-1. Bart Miadic, the save, is fourth. The loser, Yoshi Mizuo, he is 0-1. On our Pepsi Pacific Coast League scoreboard, brought to you by Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. Nashville beat Oklahoma 5-3. Top of the 9th inning in Iowa, and Colorado Springs leads Iowa 9-5. Top of the 9th inning in Omaha, 9-4 Albuquerque over Omaha. And top of the 5th inning in Memphis, and it's New Orleans 6, Memphis 1. Later on, Tacoma at Edmonton, Sacramento at Las Vegas, Fresno at Tucson. If Edmonton wins it, they'll pull back into a first-place tie in the North Division with the Salt Lake Stingers. The Stings have now dropped 6 of their last 7 games. Portland has won 6 of their last 9. Again, the Beavers now 9-11 through the first 20 games of the year. Beavers are back home on Monday to take on the Salt Lake Stingers in the first of 4 games. It will be a day game a week from today. That'll be a 12:05 start at PGE Park. That is Tuesday, May the 4th. And then on Sunday, May 9th, we'll have a typical 2:05 start for a Sunday. And then Monday, May 10th, we'll have a morning game in Portland, an 11:05 start for the final game of the upcoming homestand. Make your plans to be out of the yard. It should be a lot of fun. 4 games at home against Salt Lake, and then 4 games against Edmonton, the Beavers' second homestand this year. Season tickets and many plans are still available. For information, call 503-553-5555. For single game tickets, you can visit the PGE Park box office or call Ticketmaster at 503-223-4400. First, though, we have 4 games in Edmonton after the Beavers' first off day tomorrow. We'll be in Edmonton Thursday night. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. We'll be on the air with you Thursday and Friday at 5:35, Saturday and Sunday at 12:05, and Thursday it will be right-hander Dennis Tankersley going for his second straight win. He's thrown well all year long for the Beavs, and he'll be facing right-handed Korean Sung Song. Game time again 6:05. And airtime 5:35. You're on Advice Radio 1550 KKAD, worldwide on the internet at OregonLive.com. Until Thursday night at 5:35 for studio coordinator Edwin Lindley, and for my broadcast assistant Elizabeth Neese. Let me say that again. For my broadcast assistant Elizabeth Neese, this is Rich Burke. Goodbye from Salt Lake City, where the Beavers in 11 innings beat Salt Lake 6-3.
You've been listening to Portland Beavers Baseball on 1550 KKAD. Portland Beavers Baseball is brought to you in part by Pepsi, the joy of Pepsi. By Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. By Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Portland General Electric. We do this every day.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me something.